has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Rockstar Energy gets me energized so I can go out and send it. Hustle on.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy. Let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime!
Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. Rockstar Energy, the official energy drink of Formula Drift.
This is round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championships. We are here at Orlando Speed World.
To another flow. Now you're playing with power.
Welcome to Orlando. We got a beautiful day here, and again, we've seen some crazy weather here over the years, but this is Type S Scorch, presented by AutoZone. You can see this crazy, interesting track just set back here in Florida. I'm Jared Deenda, joining me once again up here in the booth and through the entirety of the season, president and co-founder, a great friend of mine and yours, Ryan Sage. Ryan, good to be back up here in the booth with you, Orlando. Coming into this round, it's round 3, and it is only just pro, not pro spec like we saw in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, no, and this is the first time that this has happened. For as long as I can remember, we've always had a pro spec round here, and now the dynamic has shifted. It's just a pro weekend. We get things started today with qualifying. We move right into the main show tomorrow, and this event has become the event where the tandem is so close and so crazy because the track is relatively simple. However, last year, if you remember, it didn't really matter how simple the track was because it was torrential downpour and rain throughout the entire time. This weekend, fortunately, cross your fingers, knock on wood, do whatever you need to do. Get your Singapore, dry doctor.
Get the witch doctor out.
It looks like it's going to be, hot and humid, typical Florida weather, which means maybe we'll get a little Jonathan Castro old school action with James Dean back in the mix.
Absolutely legendary, and that's I was talking to people earlier. What's your relationship like with Orlando? I don't love the track, to be quite honest. It is straightforward. It's seen some good days, seen some bad days. The weather, Mother Nature, that's a factor that always shows up. But we are going into what we call knockout qualifying, right? So we'll lock in the top 24 drivers, and then the remaining 8 drivers will run the course. So we have an action-packed day here. And again, just all killer, no filler. That patch right there, we're going to talk about that, Ryan, because we alluded to a different track layout. Well, guess what? We have defaulted it. That patch is going to play an important role here. But let's talk about the top 5, our Drivers' Championship. Round 1, Matt Field wins. Round 2, we'll get into that in a little bit, but this is the standings. There's so many tires to be burned. This is only after 2 rounds, right? So that's a quarter of the championship. Talk about Matt Field in Long Beach. Something to prove.
I mean, this was a very controversial event for Matt Field and for Frederick Osbo, but Field was able to get through tough competitors like Chelsea DeNofa and able to get one back and take home that win on the first event of the year. Incredible performance by him overall. Long Beach is always a great way to kick things off just because it's right in our backyard. It's where Formula Drift is from. The environment, the look, the feel, the smell, everything. And Field is trying to pick up where he left off pre-Salt Lake City last year. He was the most dominant driver in the series, hands down, and he was not able to close the door. Frederick Oswald got his 3rd championship, and this year we've got so many other talented drivers in the series. I think it's going to be one of the toughest years, but one of the best years for people like you and I to get to watch and have fun.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you talk about shaking things up. Vaughn Gittin Jr. takes a hiatus in 22, comes back in 23. He's doing a split season. Well, Vaughn Gittin Jr. comes back, which we celebrated 20 years. 20 years we've been going to Atlanta, since 2004. And guess what? So poetic, so sentimental. Who's in the finals? Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Chris Forsberg, day oneers outside of the last year's hiatus of Vaughn Gittin Jr. But how crazy was that? I mean, I cried. I was emotional multiple times on so many different levels. But what were your thoughts?
Honestly, just on a personal note, I'm so glad that I got to experience the top 16 with you. I wasn't scheduled to do the announcing during that time of the competition. One thing that I've come to learn about Vaughn over the years, and this is if you are a drifter coming up in the game, you're a grassroots guy, you're pro-am, he has done such a great job on the mental game.
Yeah.
The mental game is something that he has really improved on over the years, and you can only come to an event where you've been off for an entire year, qualify number 1, the best run of the day, the very first lap of the day, and then win the event. That right there is not only muscle memory and skill, but the mental fortitude to get you through it.
And, taking into consideration, new car, new build, expansion. On Wednesday night, he just debuted the all-new 2024 RTR Spec 2, which is essentially a street version with the accoutrements that he's created, ready to rock. That was kicked off in 2010. Here we are 14 years later. He coincidentally won his first championship in 2010. He wins 20. Just we're doting there on Vaughn Gittin Jr., but here's the field. And with only 2 rounds in, there's still so much talent, still so many points to be grabbed.
Oh, absolutely. And you just have to look at the list of drivers to just be absolutely floored by the amount of skill and the incredible builds that people have brought to the table this year. I mean, we will also dote on James Dean, but we have not seen the James Dean that we saw in the S15 a few years ago, because he's going to continue to improve in that car. They are going to fine-tune that thing, and he is going to get harder and harder to beat.
And, we talk about Vaughn Gittin Jr. We're talking heavily about the RTR team. Adam LZ back behind the wheel as, again, they're doing a split season. Vaughn's going to pop in. LZ will pop in. LZ had his E-Town event coinciding with the Atlanta event, but he's back behind the wheel. This is earlier today, looking pretty comfortable, looks good. And this is the podium from 22. So now let's digress and talk about, you and I looked at each other and said, what the boop? I mean, all the expletives. We had to clear the bleachers, not once, not twice, 3 times. lightning hit just over there, but it all came together for Dylan Hughes. Coincidentally, he's from Pacific Northwest. The rain suited him well. It was dumping. One of the craziest events I think we've both ever been part of.
Yeah, and just look at the other part of that podium. I mean, we talked a lot about, Vaughn and James Dean and Matt Field and Frederick Osbo. Chris Forsberg is our other 3-time champion, and now he's got himself a second-place finish. He's known to be one of those guys that can just demonstrate that consistency, and just knowing how much he has prepared this year and knowing some of the behind the scenes, I'm also very excited to see how his season rolls out.
Yeah, great point. You talk about how prepared he is. The vehicle, he took that vehicle brand new, the all-new Z last year, and, place your bets. And you can make your bets on Formula Drift Orlando. You can sign up now. So, Ryan, any more details on that?
It's really cool. Exciting. We have legalization in 11 states. So if you're in one of those states, all you need to do is go directly to the Formula Drift website. There's a tab that says Bet on FD up there. The odds have already been calculated from all of the backlog of our historical data. Here are the odds for each of those drivers to win this round. Obviously, don't bet for Vaughn Gittin Jr. because he's not here. So he's
a real dark horse.
that won't work out. But you can kind of see what the statisticians are thinking in terms of who might win this event and under what odds.
Yeah, I love this. This is just another really cool compliment of we always say if I was a betting man, well now you can literally be a bet man or a bet woman.
Yep.
So I think that's really cool. Well, thanks for joining us, those that are in the building, but thanks for joining us all across the globe. We saw one of our judges down there, Brian Eggert. Also, let it be noted, our panel of judges, we got Robbie Nishida, Brian Eggert, Ryan Lantain, and Chris Ewell, who are the 3 judges that are judging, because one sits out every round as we're here, obviously, in Orlando.
So Chris Ewell has now shifted over to the driver steward position. So you've got Robbie, Brian, and Ryan that are going to be taking up the judging slots here this weekend. There's essentially a perfect rotation where everybody gets to do a role twice.
Yep.
And so they'll each get to be the driver steward twice, sitting alongside Sean Adriano, who is our permanent driver steward, which has really just allowed us, I think, to have better direct relationships with the drivers, with more open conversations, and help us get through the show more efficiently and faster.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Ryan Sage, Jared Dienda, Lorette Nickel will be joining us tomorrow for game day here. This is Type S Scorch, presented by AutoZone. Don't go anywhere. Prepping the track, because guess what? We might put a little mints on the pillow, but we're going to thrash this thing like we're Guns N' Roses, baby.
This is Torque Motorsport.
Driving too fast, I don't wanna wait. We driving the days, we stepping in late. Nothing but bond and feel the tape. Let's be alive, but we gonna skate. Let's be alive, but we gonna skate. You wanted to ride.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
For 30 Formula Drift teams, our professional tire stacks crew will mount over 1,000 tires during a weekend to keep our drivers on track, competing at the highest level. TireStacks.com, the official tire service of Formula Drift.
All right, well, the track is getting prepped, and we are getting ready to throw down. We're going to get Joao Barry on. Looks like he had some issues. He's getting towed off. But, hey, you know, Type S has been such a great supporter of Formula Drift. Now you can purchase Type S here in the building. Go to the Formula Drift booth or the Formula Drift or Type S booth, and for special pricing here at the event. So if you're here today or if you come tomorrow, be sure to go by the booth because you can pick up the Type S Formula Drift Pro Series PSL Smart Underglow Kit, the 12-volt jump starter with built-in USB-C. You got the Larry Chen Light 360-degree LED video light and power bank. As we're flying the course here, getting a different perspective high in the sky, getting that bird's eye view. You can see that inside clip, then transition over into the second inside clip and rounding out the course. Also, you know what? If you live here in the area and you're in the building, really cool. All right, we're going to talk about deductions. All right, so as we take a look at the course here, Ryan, decel zones, what does that mean? Also, it's a little darker right now, so we're going to see those front windshield lights as well, so that's a good indication of decel.
Yeah, for sure. The decel zones are zones that are picked up from the telemetry data coming off the cars. They're an indication of where the vehicles are slowing down. This pretty much is a full acceleration course. Even with the design that we wanted to debut, it still would have been pretty much full acceleration. But as you said, the decel lights that we have are going to be able to be seen here at nighttime pretty easily. We'll talk more about those for fans that are just new to the sport and kind of learning about it. But really, to shorten it up and to make it easy, it just tells you physically kind of what's going on with the car from a G perspective. So we'll talk more about that, but that is our track layout. We're ready to get things underway. We're hoping that the weather is going to hold up. And actually, you know, let's talk about the decel light real quick because I just got it in my ear. Basically 3 colors, 4 colors actually if you count neutral, which is blue. Green means positive Gs. Yellow means it is slowing into negative Gs. And red is our definition of a decel. We have a proprietary definition of decel. Those other red marks that you saw on the track are an indication of where those red marks pop up on the telemetry data for the car. So this is super helpful for us pretty much in assisting for fault for contact. That's the main reason why we're utilizing it. It is fun to watch in qualifying, but really it will be all about usage in tandem. And
it's an aid. It is not, you know, it's an aid to assist just like different camera angles are. That's how we're going to do it. So here's Torque Drift. Here is our Torque Drift course preview. Jonathan Castro's new livery being downloaded into the game. So a DR zone there. Talk about interclip 1. What do we navigate this track, Brian, for us?
Yeah, as you're coming off that bank, coming down into that flat area from more of a vertical area, you definitely are going to get that suspension compression. It's very important to hit that inside clip, immediately get back on throttle, and then wrap around that other section of the figure 8 through the finish line. We know how close tandem battles can be, but now we have to set the keys to success. What the judges are really looking for is a quick and smooth initiation. So full throttle all the way down, maintain that momentum, quick rate to angle, smooth, hold it, go high in outside zone 1 from start to finish. Obviously, you want to stay tight on that inside clip. Fast and stylish transitions in the infield. We definitely notice differences between some drivers over others. When they're at lock this way and they hit that inside clip, can they spin it back around the other way quickly, get it to lock, and then roll through that second outside zone by filling it completely? You know, and I'm going to bring up something that the judges brought up in the drivers meeting. I thought this really resonated with the drivers and myself. Basically, if you were outside watching your run, would you get excited about your own run over somebody else's? So think about that. I thought that was cool. I like that. Up on that.
Yeah, Robbie was like, hey, if it looks, you might be like, dude, I'm totally getting it. And then you suck yourself outside of your car, and then you're looking at this thing, you're like, hey, am I excited about it? You know, I mean, am I full, you know, Torque Motorsports, let's get after it. You know, so you're looking at that. Don't leave it in the judge's hands, man. Well, I mean, yeah, and also, can you be objective about your run, right? Of course not. You're dude, I'm the sickest. Hey, you know, I crushed it, dude. I crushed it, dog. You spun out. #1 qualifier. Nah, dude, it was a 6 spin out though, and we're kind of just playing the role of getting high on your own supply, as they say. So, talking about Torque Drift if you have not downloaded it yet. And there, talk about that Type S merchandise. Pick it up. Formula Drift merchandise store, special event pricing. You can pick up, you can see the Larry Chen 360 LED video light. You got the Type S Formula Drift Pro Series Ultra Slim Smart LED trim kit. So all the lighting you're going to see here as the sun sets. You got a jump start with built-in USB-C cable and LCD display. So if your phone's dead, go ahead, head on over to either the Formula Drift merchandise booth or the Type S booth. Also, if you have not downloaded Torque Drift 2 is the official drifting game of the Formula Drift series. Head on over to torquemotorsport.io for the latest game updates, exclusive partnership announcements, and motorsport content on their official YouTube channel at Torque Motorsport. Alex Martini in the building, and he's been doing some interviews. We're having some fun. Also, we are trackside here, and I want to talk about the BC Racing collab. Trackside Tropical, it's a collaboration between Hourglass Brewing and BC Racing North America. They came together with their local friends from Hourglass to brew an exclusive beverage just for Formula Drift fans. So, Hourglass, if you're here in the area, introducing Trackside Tropical. It's a 7.5% ABV, making it a true sleeper that won't go unnoticed. With generous amounts of tangerine, touch of hibiscus to accentuate the floral notes, bold flavor profile. Come on, pick up a can of Hourglass Brewing and BC Racing North America. It's called Trackside Tropical. You actually see the banners at the start. Pretty cool. Obviously, I like a good beer, and I had some actually last night, so I definitely recommend it. Pick some up. Here's a look at our past champions. Who's going to be our future champion? Will be a new name among those icons. You know, Sam Huvenet, notably 04 and 06, Reese 05, Tanner, that back-to-back. Forsberg, he was the first ever kind of drifters champ in 09. Then Vaughn, Daigo, Essa, Forsberg again. Forsberg sandwiched Osbo with his first championship in 2015. James Dean, back-to-back-to-back, 17 and 19. Vaughn Gint Jr. after a 10-year hiatus wins in 2020. And then Freddie, he's on a tear. Can he be the first ever? Who will be the first ever four-time champ? Well, guess what? All three-time champions are here. Forsberg, Osbo, and James Dean. Again, legal in 11 states. Sign up now. Place your bets. Go to formuladee.com. You'll see it, click it, and stick it, and maybe you can stick some winnings in your pocket. So really cool. Just being debuted here. Scan to sign up. Go ahead. Boop. Go ahead. We'll wait. Go ahead. Boop. Scan it. Place your bets. That's what you're going to do. Again, being debuted here this weekend. Really cool. Glad that all came together. I know it was in the works, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's happening with Nitro Cross, Street League Skateboarding. So a couple properties that I work with, they've implemented it. It's been great.
You know, it's one of those things that really can help a sport grow. We've all been doing it anyways. I
have not. I said good day.
Yeah. But it is exciting that people are starting to see the sport in the light of the NFL, boxing, MMA, where these things are so commonplace.
Surfing.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I know you're big.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, there are some sports that have a big enough reach are starting to be that way, where this becomes an important element in trying to grow the sport.
Absolutely. And again, here is the standings coming into this round. This is after 2 rounds. So Field, Osbo, Forsberg, RCP, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. All right, so again, Field, Osbo, Forsberg, RCP, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. sitting in 5th. Rounding out the top 10, James Dean, just lurking in the shadows. Jonathan Hurst, the pride of Paducah. Odie Bakshis, always a threat. And Forrest Wang, welcome back to Formula Drift. And Chelsea Denofa, the Pizza 11 machine. Thanks to our hardworking FD crew. Got it primed. Thank you to our judges going out there and painting the lines as they get shredded out there. And we actually start from the bottom and work our way to the top. You know, other years we kind of, we've kind of bounced around. We started back in the day at the top and work our way, and then now here we are going from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, no, I think this is the right way to do it. We did it in the past kind of as a troll.
Yeah.
Because people would say, oh, you guys will save points for the guys that are the best later on or whatever. And we needed to go through a year of people experiencing what it was like to go from number 1 down to the bottom.
Right.
And it didn't really change anything.
Yeah. And how interesting was that was Vaughn was the first driver out in Atlanta because he wasn't at Long Beach.
Right.
And he set the bar, boom. never got hurt, never got jumped, never got leapfrogged.
What would be insane, you know, because he's splitting duties with LZ, is if he puts together 4 amazing events, he probably could be in the top 10.
That would be insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, that would be absolutely wild. Well, he's not here in the building, but I know he's cheering him on. He's at home. I saw him Wednesday. Again, congrats to him and that new RTR Spec 2, the all-new Ford Mustang. Let's get it going. Let's see our first car. Ryan Literal, Power Stop Brakes, GT Radial S15. Ryan Sage, Jared DeAnder, your tour guides. We're going to guide you through these runs, and our judges are breaking them down. Ryan Lantain, Robbie Nishida, and Brian Eggert. Got them 3 spokes spinning. The RB Army, running an RB for quite some time, had a bit of gremlins, a few rounds, but now looks like he's got it dialed. Really good proximity to that wall. Throw some more angle at it, progressively throwing it out there. You know what, that transition with that patch hasn't really shown up at all. It's a non-issue at all. Ryan Literal showing up. Look at this, what a great way to start qualifying. And for Ryan Literal running 100 right there. Yo, that's the best run I've seen from him this year. Seemed really calm and comfortable. The front wheels, minimal corrections, if any at all, as we're going to walk through it again, Ryan. I mean, that was really smooth.
I mean, that's very like Vaughn-ish to start things off, right? Like he was pretty aggressive on the initiation, got it right to lock, was at a pretty high point on that outside zone, hits that inside clip, just pushes it a little bit, and a great fluid transition back around. So I know that Ryan has wanted to do more at the event and hasn't had the compliance with the vehicle in the way that he's wanted to, and now he's kind of showing us what happens when those two things come together. This is a pretty solid run. It's probably going to hold, and it gives a good foundation for the rest of the field to understand what a run like this would be scored like. So great job by Ryan Little. First run out of the day, solid one.
Absolutely great job there by Ryan Literal in the RB S15 Power Stop vehicle. All right, so we are hearing that João Barrion is calling a competition timeout. João Barrion from Brazil unfortunately had some issues. This looks like and here's Adam LZ. Adam LZ in the RTR Mustang Spec 5 FD. We saw some great runs from earlier. Boom, a 92 out of the gate for Ryan Literal. Car number 909. Look at that X Factor score. So again, we didn't really talk about the judging criteria, but oh, I like this. The X Factor, look at that, 676, 8040. So you have 90 points available, Ryan. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, you know, the one thing that the judges I think have so far been really consistent on this year is that it's very difficult to get above a 7 X Factor. And that's because the X Factor is very specifically defined. It's really the glue that puts the whole things together. And you can have a nice line, angle, and style, but without the X Factor, you're really not going to have that high score. And so when we see scores above 6 on X Factor, really good.
Here we go. Speaking of X Factor, how about the Z Factor? Adam LZ and then RTR Mustang. Some great runs earlier in practice. Very smooth. About the second tick mark on that first inside clip. Drifts on into that second inside clip, and now that final outside zone. Man, look at that thing digging into the crease. Right into the crease. Look at that side by that tire just squashing that Nitto G2, the Triple 5 G2.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of tiebreakers this event because if the first 2 runs are an indication of what we expect to see, I feel like the scores are going to be more attenuated towards high than they would be towards low. The drivers seem very, very comfortable. This is a hometown event for Adam LZ. Starts off really nice, just like Literal, pretty consistent up on the bank. Nice throttle control coming down, perfect on that inside clip. Now, a bit of angling up there, so will receive a little bit of a deduction in that area, but he doesn't allow that to get to him. He quickly gets back on it. That right rear tire is just sitting right at the edge of that outside zone, and good execution after that.
Yeah, the smoothness here is really impressive coming off that transition. I said the second tick mark. He was on that first tick mark. I digress. So good run there from Adam LZ. Got to feel confident. Again, new car for him. You know, sat on the sidelines, but he's constantly driving. If it's, you know, road racing or ripping around one of his many supercars that he has, or if he's drifting, you know, he's piloting his S15 at his own LZ World Games events. I mean, constantly behind the wheel.
High expectations too, right? That's a car that was stood up atop the podium just last
And no, that is a great point. It is the same car.
Yeah.
They're literally just skinning it, putting the LZ's outfit on it, you know? So basically, they're pulling off Von Gittin Jr.'s livery and putting on Adam LZ. So we know it's a capable machine.
Well, that is his, let's see, that would have been at least a handful of runs so far this season for LZ, and to kick it off that way here in the hometown, I think is really awesome.
86 for Adam LZ. He lives here in Florida, so an 86 there for LZ puts him into number 2 position. And you can see that X Factor score, Ryan, that you were talking about, the 2, 4, and 4. So 90 points available in that line angle style, and then that X Factor, the unknown, just giving it that extra, dang, that deserves it. All right, Alex Holovnia. Alex. All right, here we go. Alex coming down the chute into that first outside zone. Alex looking good. Look at that. Nice shot there from the drone, getting tight to the green wall. Love how the wall is brightly painted green into that first inside clip. Great transition from him. Popping and sliding into that second inside zone. And now bringing it on down into the finish line. These guys are making it look really, really easy. You know, from practice earlier to now, the pressure is on. Alex, a newcomer, a Formula Drift rookie, joining us here.
Yeah, and he definitely, I think, has warranted his petition. Got that initiation right at that last standing 1 cone. You can see the yellow markers on the wall, 3, 2, 1, that show the drivers the latest point of initiation. Coming off that bank, hits that inside clip. Nice transition back around. Gets back on throttle after letting it float into that decel zone. Now he's on a little bit on the inside there. He starts recognizing, I can get deeper, and he does that and closes up the run pretty quickly there. So nice job by Alex. It's been great to have him part of the series. You can see really running deep into that first outside zone. And the 2 major changes to this track layout, Jared, that are going to be different than last year is that outside zone 2 is a little bit shorter and outside zone 1 is a little bit longer. So that hopefully is going to help us have better overall tandem and a more flowy course that seems a little bit more natural for these drivers.
All right, so let's see where Alex lands. And we should be seeing João Berrion next, again, the Brazilian driver. And there he is. So unfortunately, João did have to utilize his NGK competition timeout because you only get 1 through the entirety of the weekend. We are in K&N knockout qualifying. K&N, the official air filter of Formula Drift. Alex Holovnia, 81.33, flying the Ukrainian flag. Puts down an 81.33. So you can see X Factor, 1.33. All right, so again, we're going back to João Berrion utilizing that competition timeout. The Monster Energy Liberius Corvette. See what we got from this Brazilian driver, joined by another Brazilian, Diego Higa, in one-cup competition. João initiates, you see some a little bit of hesitation, but now it sounds and looks like he found the sweet spot in the transition. Comes through the transition. You can see a little bit of correction there. And now comes through that final outside zone. Car just looking not exactly settled, Ryan. Don't know exactly what happened right as practice was ending. He was the final driver and broke on the line. So hence why I had to call the competition timeout, get the car right. Gonna get a score on the board where he's at.
Even up here, you know, we can typically hear the cars pretty well. It did seem like he was fighting the car a little bit. You can see on the initiation there a bit of wavering in the front wheels. And when he gets to the second outside zone, it almost looks like he's just barely making it through the course. So as you said, this will be a scored run. I don't know exactly where it's going to fall in with the rest of the runs that we've seen so far, but for certain, it seems as if the car is not really doing exactly what he wants it to do, but he probably felt this was much better than going to the bottom 8.
Yeah, just getting it all together, just having some gremlins, man. They just show up and just absolutely ruin your day. So unfortunately, like you said, his car's not doing exactly what he wants it to do. Joao Barrion waits to find out his score. So again, we'll lock in the top 24 drivers after the first run. Take the remaining 8 or plus and fill them, so we'll have 8 spots, 32 in total. Lock in the top 24 scores. The remaining drivers who are 25th and lower will rerun, forced to take their second run. Where they land, it can't be any higher than 25th. How we doing out there, Orlando? See yourself out there on that big screen. Thanks for joining us out here. Getting up close and personal. We're up here in the glass box of emotion where the judges and staff and everybody's at. So a 73 for Joao Barrion. A 73 for Joao. X Factor, you can see that. Nothing stand out for the Sheriff. Kyle the Menace Mohan, Mazda Tricks, Renewable Lubricants, Mazda RX-8 from Long Beach, California, running that flex fuel. Here comes Kyle Mohan. Down the chute, transitions into the outside zone. See how the long rotary handles that big bank, big long bank, stays in it. Past that inside clip and into the second. Navigate, ooh, big correction there, shuts it down. The Vitor tires grip up, and that will be an incomplete. So that is a 0, unfortunately, for Kyle Mohan. Everything was working out pretty swimmingly, but unfortunately, that second inside clip takes him out.
Yeah, I can't tell you how important the judges have emphasized commitment at this track, because it is more simplistic in nature. They really want to see the drivers push as hard as they can. Now, when that happens, things can happen to the vehicle, and you can push a little bit over the limits. Right there, we don't know if that was Kyle pushing the car or the car having a problem. But overall, as you said, Jared, he will get an incomplete for this run.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kyle the Menace Mohan, having some issues. He's still actually on course. Might need a tow, and yeah, he will. Yep, so Mohan shuts it down. Insult to injury will get him towed off course. Let's see what's going on in here. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll get Kyle Mohan off. And next up, our Pro Spec champion from last year, Mr. Robert Thorne. He's in that Pedal Commander burnout box. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When I started as a stunt driver, I had to create my own path. So I got in my Ford and I got to work. Literally every moment of the day, I just trained. And now I can confidently say that I'm one of the top drivers in this industry.
Welcome to the streets of Long Beach. Look at that. It is a beautiful day here in Southern California.
K&N, the official performance air filter of Formula Drift.
NGK makes ignition coils. Why? Because we prefer a running partner that can keep pace. We know ignition, and since our spark plugs don't run alone, we put some of our energy and expertise into making better coils. NGK ignition coils are engineered to OE durability and performance. And because we race to win, we improve the design, testing, and validation of our coils for better performance. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together.
All right, so here we are and back at Orlando, baby. Thanks for joining us out here in round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. I'm Jared Deenda, Ryan Sage sits next to me. This big compound out here.
Orlando.
Yup. You can see the motocross track, and you can see all the moisture that's sitting on that thing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, like you said, knock on wood, cross your fingers, do what you got to do. Let's pray for some nice weather. All right, here we go. Robert Thorne on the line. ASM, shout out to Jabebe, Chris Stewart, all the Grid Life boys. I know they're watching and cheering on Robert Thorne. An excellent wheelman in traditional racing, comes over and wins Pro Spec Championship last year, made the jump to Pro, and let's see how he applies all that knowledge here from Pro Spec. This is where he got on the box last year. Can he do it behind the wheel of a Pro car? Good, nasty transition there from Thorne into that second final outside zone. Exceeds it a little bit. Now, Ryan, I want you to walk us a little fist bump through the finish line. That was sketchy. A little fist pump going across. How would you perceive him exceeding that outside zone line?
Well, it's definitely going to be a deduction in the line category, but when you think about how many points are allocated for line, you've just got to look at that on a relative basis. I think one of the takeaways from Robert Thorne, especially last round, is that he really wants to focus on qualifying better, because he ended up going up against Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the round of 32. And when you have that, if you were a betting man, it doesn't matter who you are. Vaughn, as a two-time champion and coming off of what he was doing in qualifying, is very, very difficult. So you can tell here Robert is really pushing the pace. He wants to be able to get as high of a score as he possibly can to try and stay away from those killers that end up 1 through 5, 1 through 6, and things like that. Playing the probability game of giving yourself, a better chance. Now, you did say he dropped the tire there, and you can clearly see it goes on the outside of outside zone 2. How big of a deal is it? I don't think it was that big of a deal, but certainly there will be some deductions online.
I was kind of setting you up, and the way I perceive it is, say we're at Road Atlanta, he's going to throw up a little red dust, is basically how you have to treat that. Long Beach, obviously, you go deep, you end up into the wall, you're digging your bumper, you're shredding some panels. Here, it's going to be a deduction, but imagine if we're in Atlanta, you're going to throw up a little red flag. Or rumble strip, yeah. But again, the deeper you go, the more it's going to affect your score.
For sure.
All right, Nick Novak.
When you see the raising, that's the thing that from a historical perspective, I know the judges really don't like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's your, and then you got to think 2 tires off. That's a larger deduction. Yeah, there we go. So Robert Thorne still a decent score in 81. So up in the mix, you can see it being reflected. X factor.
Right, and you can see there, like the score basically is 10 points off of perfect, right, as far as what you can get from line angle style, but the X factor, he got hit pretty heavy.
And that's average, right? So just so the fans know. So you're taking judge 1, 2, 3, smash them all together. What comes out is the average between the 3.
That's absolutely correct.
Thank you, sir. Nick Novak. Leaving the line, Novak Racing, GT Radial BMW. You can see there's acceleration lights. Take note of that. Ooh, nasty flick into that outside zone. Novak, look at that. Now it throws more and more angle at it. Hammering down. Wow, big angle. Explodes that front clip. Oh, got a little shimmy there in the wheels. Maybe questioning his line now in that second outside zone. Tries to dig deep there. Doesn't get all the way to the crease, but still obviously fills that second outside zone. But it's a real big flex and a slam dunk if you fit right in that crease, ride that line.
I've always been a big fan of his driving and his driving style, especially when he's locked in and he is pushing the pace. He has a really amazing style. It's very smooth and consistent. Here he gets that nice little initiation. It was fast rate to angle. He had a couple little movements there that may have some effect on the overall score, and he does hit that inside clip by going a little bit tight there, and that pushes him wide on inside clip number 2. Now as he starts to lock into this final outside zone, you can see here he's right in that zone pretty much all the way till the end. Here's another look at it. You can see almost center punching that inside clip. So what you're going to get there is you're going to get some deductions for line and probably a few deductions in the X Factor, or you're not going to add on in the X Factor. But he's able to finish up strong, and this should be a keeper for him.
X gonna give it to you. There we go. Thank you. Where my dog's at. All right, let's see what Nick Novak. Mr. Nick Novak, you can put your score on me. That's for the Yacht Rock fans, as opposed to the Nickelback fans.
No, this morning when we were
Novak.
driving here, Michael McDonald came on. And Tio's never heard me sing Michael McDonald
really?
before, so I had to hit him with it.
Did you hit him with a I'ma be there?
I don't remember the name. No, not that one. I hit him with. I just can't live running low anymore.
Yep.
This is my Michael McDonald impression. Give it away.
We have a little bit of fun here on qualifying. It's Casual Friday, so thanks for joining us here. Ryan and I just up here in the booth. Our judges just off to our left. Old Patty G over here. And next up, we are seeing the Nicholas BMW of Travis Reeder as Nick Novak's score comes in with an 81.33. A strong score for the big boy, the Jerry Yang Racing, Novak Racing BMW. Congratulations, 81.33 for Nick Novak. You could put your score on me. There you go.
Oh, man.
Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter.
Now, what's the history of that?
It just
nickname,
rhymes.
By the way?
It just literally rhymes.
You pulled that out.
And he doesn't like it, so I just keep doubling down. No, I love Travis. He's really very talented driver, great young man, and looking for a big score here. Nicholas BMW GT Radials, old red, new red, red all over. Yo, ripping down that transition to that first inside clip into the second inside clip. Now coming in there, that's that crease right there, riding on the line.
Let's go.
Wow. Just sticking it to it. Look at that right there. Just digging in. There's a shovel, and he can dig it. Man, well done. Travis Reeder.
Oh, that's an idiom for sure, right?
It's a tag team. Back again. Yeah. Here's a shovel. Can you dig it, fool? We can dig it.
Well, let's remember Travis Reeder was one of 7 winners from last year. So we certainly know that he has the ability in him to win events, qualify strong, set himself up strategically to get as far as he possibly can in competition. Here's a great example of attacking the course, coming off the bank, perfect on that inside clip, wrapping back around, great throttle control. Look at where he enters outside zone 2. He sticks that right wheel on that back line, and he pretty much doesn't move. I know that is going to be very well appreciated by the judges because not only does it show precision, it shows commitment.
Yeah, and just risking it for that and getting that X factor, I think, because this course is so straightforward, the X factor needs to have that snappy transition or just that crisp, clean line.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what's really going to stand out, the differentiation of one driver compared to another. Travis showed up, man. Really well done. Cannon knock on qualifying score, 91.66.
Hit it.
Does not supersede Ryan Litteral's 92. Litteral still leading the pack, man. So congratulations to Travis Reeder. The Nicholas BMW jumps up to that number 2 spot. Solid score, 91.66. And if you can remember, he drove really well in the wet here last year. And Ryan, you just brought it up, great point. Wins at E-Town, which the first ever North American purpose-built drift coliseum. Now this young buck, this young man, Brandon Sorensen, the youngest driver ever to qualify into Formula Drift competition. Brandon Sorensen, United States Air Force, pedal commander, BMW, coming to us from Las Vegas. His sister split in time between racing Extreme E as well as racing Formula Drift Prospect. Brandon Sorensen, I know she's watching as well. Here we go, Brandon Sorensen. High flying, Brandon Sorensen. Yeah, he is ripping, living up to his name. He is soaring down into that first inside clip. does knock it over. Shows good proximity, how deep he was into it. Really well done.
He is
so
flying.
he is ripping through the course, man. Like, I feel like he's on 1.5. Like, you speed up like a podcast or something. He's like on 1.5 right now.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a really fun run to watch because putting it together at that speed, even if there were some mistakes there, you just kind of understand, what his MO is. Let's get a look at it again. He gets that initiation. You can see wheel speed really starting to pick up about halfway through, the smoke line progressively getting bigger and bigger. Just a little bit on the inside of that outside zone, taps that inside clip, circles back around. He's on that second hash mark. So you can see some areas where the judges have an opportunity to take some deductions, but he is really aggressively attacking the course, which is what you like to see. And speed becomes a factor on this course, especially if you are able to run the appropriate line. If you're able to get enough grip out of your car and keep yourself in a really good chase position and then have some separation in your lead without what the judges call running away, I think that's going to put you at an overall advantage on a course like this because of the simplicity of it and how simple it is in construction.
Yeah, I'm really excited about tomorrow. And like you said, Ryan, we love the pro spec and the pro rounds. They're long, they're tedious mentally. When the weather hits you, it's a lot. So just coming in here kind of after an amazing Atlanta round, Brandon Sorensen with an 84.33. Congrats to him at 84.3. Look at the X Factor score 4. That's pretty solid. So, but just be pro, I think it just gives us a little exhale.
I love ProSpec, but having ProSpec here was very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's
extremely difficult. So I think this actually almost takes a little bit of a weight off of the pro guys as well, because they get to come in a little bit later. They get a really solid practice today. They do qualifying, and then they go right into the head-to-head tomorrow, not having to be here on a Tuesday.
Right. Oh, yeah, we all know. But logistically, I think it's everybody, again, could breathe a sigh of a little bit of room to breathe. Ola Jaeger, Japan Auto, Supra, this gentleman, another Norwegian driver, very talented. This car, the Mark IV Supra, an icon in the drifting world as well as just in the overall tuning world. And here comes Ola Jaeger down the 153 past that inside clip. Coming to second inside clip. Good transition from him. Very smooth. I love that transition there from Jaeger. Oh, he comes up short on that last outside zone. Fails to get out there. Come on. So unfortunately, he did not get the shovel and get out there. But still, prior to that last outside zone, rock solid.
Yeah, no, that was a mistake, a clear mistake, right? That on that second outside zone, he left quite a bit on the table there, and it's mostly going to affect the line category. Line category is worth 40 points in your overall score, but let's get a look from the beginning. Gets a pretty good initiation. He's on a mid-high line on the bank. We like to see him get up there as deep as he possibly can. He is able to extend out to the furthest point of that zone. Pretty good job on inside clip 1 and 2, right at the second hash mark. Trying to find the momentum to push forward to enter the zone at the right point, but it seems as if once he locks into that line, perhaps he felt, I just need to ride this all the way through because I might make too big of a mistake if I try to push myself into the deeper part of the zone, given where I transition for inside clip 1 and entering outside zone 2. So unfortunate mistake there for him on the line category on outside zone 2, but this could potentially be a keeper overall.
Yeah, I think just getting a score on the board, build some confidence. We do have an incomplete, unfortunately, previously with Kyle Mohan, so he will obviously have to have a second run. But a 72 Ola Jaeger. Had a great conversation with him after the drivers' meeting earlier today. Would love to see Ola Jaeger. Great driver, talented driver, puts in a lot of effort over the years. I would love to see him on the box. You can see the wind blowing, so that quickly clears out that smoke. And our score ticker up top, LZ sits in third, Sorensen fourth, Novak in fifth.
You know what we have tomorrow? I don't know if I told you about. I know I didn't tell you about this, but to pay tribute to Florida.
Yeah.
And if there's no wind tomorrow, we have one of those boats that goes flying on the water.
Oh, sick. Yeah. Oh, let's go.
To clear the smoke out.
All right, here we go. Mike Power, the Type S. S15, I love it. Coming to us from Jersey, or New York, excuse me. Nice high and tight is Mike Power. Currently living in Southern California. Slides in and past that second inside clip. Dial it in. Find that line. There it is. right there. Well done. The barbed wire car looks good. Well done. Mike Power brings on home. You know, he's had a little bit of slips and trips, but that looks strong. You know, I'm just talking about previous rounds. I know the Type S, you know, team and Mike Power Racing wants to put it all together.
There are so many things about his program that are elevated on a positive level. He is consistently in the top 10 of drivers on social media return. He really knows what he's doing, and he's put together a great campaign. Now it's time to get into the driving side of things. And here on this last outside zone, look at, he's locked in, stays very consistent on that line all the way through, and I think that will pay dividends for him. Let's take a look coming off the bank into that inside clip. Maybe could have had a little bit more angle there, but you can see he does a pretty good job. He was headed towards a bigger mistake on that second inside clip, but made an adjustment to get around it, decided not to hit it, and then once he locks in here, that's a solid execution of that second outside zone all the way through.
Hey, Orlando, how are we doing out there? Make some noise. Stomp your feet if you can hear me. Orlando, stomp your feet. Yo, there we go. I think you guys can hear me. Don't do it too hard. I don't want these things to fall over. I mean, I bet the fans at home could even hear it. All right, Mike Power waits his score as we are seeing Kazuya Taguchi. This thing is a weapon, man. Talk about a driver that has progressed. He got the win last year in St. Louis, the Up Garage ISR Performance. You know, he's running the VR under the hood of the 86.
What was the all-time one-liner again? I lose no more or something like that?
I don't remember.
No more lose?
So good, so good. 87 and 87 for Mike Power. So look at that, kind of split on the X Factor score, but consistent 83, 80, 84, 85. So overall an 87 for Mike Power, lands him in a third position.
Yeah, that is interesting that the Japan judge, Robbie Nishida, gave him a 0. We either want to confirm that that's legit or...
You did at 5? You had 5 on the X? See?
Okay.
So there was, unfortunately, it did not make it to the graphic. Robbie is saying that he did give him 5 on the X Factor.
Okay. So yeah, let's make sure everybody knows that in the scoring
Yep.
booth. Robbie Nishida did give him a 5 on the X Factor.
All right. Here we go, Kazuya Taguchi. Watch this. I'm expecting big things from Kazuya Taguchi here. Whoa! Snapping into the wall goes Kazuya Taguchi. Look at that. Sticks it. Set it and forget it. Taguchi now comes down into that first clip. Spot on. Holy cow. Are we going to see a 100-point run? We haven't seen one in a while. How's he going to handle this? Oh, he does exceed a little bit. That'll be a small deduction. It's not going to be 100, but what a blazing, ripping run from Kazuya Taguchi.
You were talking about points of difference, right? And sometimes in the craziness of a run, it's hard to call out what that is. That's a run with a point of difference.
That was
right?
it.
It just had all of the elements that you want to see, from the noise to the pinned accelerator to the crazy smoke line, the precision driving on the line that is being called out by the judges, the great angle, the risk, the overall performance, putting all those things together, trying to get as many X Factor points as he can extract from the judges. There's really not a lot to criticize in that run. As you said, he did exceed outside zone 2 by maybe a half a tire or so for, you know, half of a second, something like that. But the overall run, when you take that into consideration, is one of the better ones that we've seen so far. And he's really pushing the limits.
Yeah.
And that's what the judges love to see.
And that's splitting hairs there. And that's what you need to do, is to get that number 1 spot. And there are points at stake. Let's reiterate that. 3 points for first, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third. And that could be the deal breaker in a championship.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
No, that is not. Every point counts. And, you know, doing some interviews earlier, I mean, it's come down to Irwindale every year. Like, nobody's locked it up before we get to Irwindale. You know, it always comes out. And it's been a point or 2 or 5. So every point really does matter.
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, just think about if you qualified first for all 8 rounds, that's 24 points.
Yep.
That would pretty much put you way ahead of the next guy in the traditional year.
Great point. Kazuya Taguchi gets a 93.66. He takes the number 1 spot. Kazuya Taguchi with a 93.66 in that Up Garage
Look at
ISR
that, really
performance.
making Robbie happy.
Yo, 7, 9, and 8 in that X Factor. And then, man, great run there. Should definitely be proud. I know Nate Chen is his spotter. He competes in a pro spec. So he's in his ear, giving us some insight. And they've been a great duo because they drive the same car, right? The 86, so sharing some parts. And speaking of an 86, this vehicle, Diego Higa, you might have seen him on Hyperdrive on Netflix, a Brazilian drift champion, talented driver. And that vehicle has seen Formula Drift action before. That is Ryan Turk's old 86. So, yeah, even says Turk on the manifold. Diego Higa, big, nasty flick into that first outside zone. Doesn't get as high. Definitely aggressive line, but you can see the attitude of the vehicle kind of going back and forth and shuts it down. Diego Higa, unfortunately, shuts it down, and that will be an incomplete. Maybe fighting the car. I know we had some issues in Atlanta. The team's frustration wearing it like a bad suit in Atlanta. Unfortunately, Diego Higa has to exit out, and that'll be another incomplete.
It's not as if you could get a read on that there was going to be an incomplete when he got out of the gate, but he was already producing a ton of wheel speed from the start line, already smoking it up and approaching this very aggressively. So whether or not he had to shut it down because the car was giving him problems or because there was over-aggressive driving that he just couldn't rein back and take control of, I don't know. But unfortunately, he will have to go to that second run.
So unfortunate. You know, I know he's got a lot of fans here, and you know, a lot of Brazilian fans here, a lot of Dominican Republic fans here, and they were getting loud. So as we are seeing this 86 of Kenshiro Gushi, I believe that's the Goosh. Madi's Threes Racing. Taking a look at the leaderboard as we have a new leader, Kazuya Taguchi, top of the heap, 93.66. Ryan Littoral sitting second. Travis Reeder. You can see the names Power, Mike Power, LZ, Sorensen, Novak, Polovnia from Ukraine, Thorne, and Joao Berrion. Jaeger with a score, and then unfortunately Higa and Mohan are our two drivers with incompletes and are forced to complete a second run. Kenshiro Gushi, a day oneer. You see 20 years up there on that stanchion. He's been around since day one. We've seen this kid grow up to be a young man. He's an adult, man. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see just his career over the years, over the last 20 years, as Kenshiro Gushi initiates a little low on that bank. He's got that V6 engine turbo, basically out of a Tacoma or a FJ Cruiser. Really cool sounding car, very smooth line right now. Ken Gushi trying to kind of salvage something of a run here. I think he's going to put something together. But on that initiation, you saw kind of what we saw from Diego Higa, and just not a strong effort out of the gate.
Yeah, Gushi has these moments where, as a very mature veteran in the sport that still feels young at heart, he tends to surprise you from time to time with these really bouts of just amazing driving. He did that last year in Salt Lake. We saw him in 2015 getting that second place in the overall championship next to Frederick Osbo. But I think he's still trying to find his balance and comfort level and all the things that come with running his own team here this season and even last year to a certain extent. He gets that initiation, the front wheels start to wash out, and he has to make that adjustment. As he makes that adjustment, he goes high up on the bank. He's back in it now. Very veteran move there, just tapping that inside clip, gets through the second one right on the second hash mark. He does get into this outside zone on a line that starts to push him down a little bit. He quickly makes that adjustment, and he's locked in and finishes up strong.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Here we go. Ken Gushi taking a look at it again, the aerial view. Jesse ripping the drone.
He's also doing like double, triple duty. He's doing the FD Japan events. He's flying all. I mean, for sure he's going to be like platinum, you know,
status. Yeah, well, EP.
Yeah, it's hard to get. I don't know how it is for you, but like they upped it for me. So like I'm actually kind of looking. I'm doing the projections. I'm like I might not get 1K next year, man.
Right?
Sucks.
Yeah. Well, start flying. Get out there. All right, so Ken Gushi waiting for his score. Looks like the Dodge Viper of Dean Carnage Carney, the HyperNFT.io. And there's 72.33. Zeros across the board for the X Factor, unfortunately, but the Madi's Threes Racing. Seems like, you know, Ken building this unique car. He's built it with his friends. Threes Racing is him and his homies. Just it seems more of an intimate type of setting. You know, he's worked with Gretty over the years, but it just seems that he's just It's a different approach.
With greater power comes greater responsibility, right? And that's the task that Ken has taken on for himself. And it's great when it works out, but it's having to look in the mirror and being like, crap, what did we do wrong at this particular round? And he'll get there because he knows what it's like to be a pro drifter.
Here we go, Dean Carnage Carney with the K. Carnage initiates into the bank. Needs to get a little bit higher there, and he does just that. Nice clean black Dodge Viper, looking mean, menacing. That Type S lights underneath, past that second inside clip. Looks like he's now really hammering down. Finds that crease, puts it right in there. Signed, sealed, delivered. Dean Carnage Carney saw his brother out here earlier.
Yeah, as it gets darker and you start to see the decel lights on the car, you see that there's a lot of green on this track. These guys are always in forward acceleration, right? And there is some red coming across that center section. You can see drivers are still utilizing one of their other tools, which is left foot braking. That's very, very popular on the bank. Dean tapping that inside clip, coming around to this second inside clip as he gets to the final outside zone. A very smoky run, super powerful car that maybe a handful of people in the world can actually drive and take control of, Dean being one of them. He's kind of become synonymous with this vehicle over the years. And at moments, he's almost looked unstoppable, but there are other times where it's very difficult to get the car to do what he wants it to do and to be able to show the skill that he has as a driver. I think this will definitely be most likely a keeper run, but probably not the best that we're going to see from Dean this weekend.
Yeah, so Dean Carnage Carney straps together a run, salvaging something. 70s. What are you thinking? Kind of landing with that Joao Kengushi 72, 71, 75. Let's see where he lands. And awaiting the outcome as our next driver jumps in. And there it is, 78. So 78 there for Dean Carnage Carney. As you can see, X Factor is 0, so it lands the average of 78, puts him into 10th position, hypernft.io.
Yeah, one of the things that, so every round, the judges change responsibilities for who conducts a driver's meeting. This round, it was Robbie Nishida. One of the things that he said that stuck out to you, but another thing that stuck out to me was, look, if you have basically a perfect line angle style, the X Factor has to come because you can't put all those things together without having what we're asking for in X Factor. And that's kind of what we've seen. Anybody that gets an 85 or higher is going to have at least 3 to 4 X Factor points. And then when you start getting into those higher scores, from what we've seen from a couple of the guys that are in the 90s, that really is the difference maker.
Absolutely. Great point. All right, here we go. This is Trenton Beecham. Happy birthday to Trenton Beecham. It's his birthday today, saw that. So we'll see if he can blow out the candles with the back end of that LS-powered BMW Clone X Nexon tires, BMW from Southern California. Beecham damn near killed him. Talking about them Nexon tires. All right, Trenton initiates. A little bit low on the bank. Needs to get some height. Good consistent angle there, Ryan. Good speed all the way through. Rips through. And past that first inside clip, past that second, quick little lift, but then gets right back on it, filling all that second outside zone. Solid run there from Beecham. Just does not let off past that finish line, letting everybody know he's got the power on deck. But again, leaving a little bit of windows of opportunity there on both of the outside zones, both on the bank. We've seen drivers get higher and then just dialing in that second outside zone.
Well, I think very much like Irwindale, getting the big bank right is extremely important for the tenor of the run when it comes to the judges. You know, they really want to see you maxing out the proximity to the wall as best you possibly can without using it as a crutch, of course, but getting right up against that wall with the most amount of angle that you can and maintaining that flow and consistency through the course. Now, Beecham, I think he's going to have a pretty good overall run here, but certainly there were some points left on the table on the big bank, outside zone 1, and as you said, also in outside zone 2. So we'll see how the judges treat that, but he was able to kind of fix some of the early mistakes and come back with some strong parts of that run on the second half.
K&N knockout qualifying continues here as we take a look at the United States Air Force instant replay. K&N, the official performance air filter of Formula Drift, and not exclusive to intakes. Also, home filters, cabin filters, oil filters. So when you're looking for an option, K&N has got you covered. You can see that wind still blowing. What do they call those boats? The like hover boats. Hoverboat, right? They call them something. Jet boats. No, no, I don't think it's a jet boat.
The first one I think is
like
closer. And I should tell you, like that actually came through Chelsea Denofa.
Oh, sick.
He's the one that arranged it, which no surprise, right? Yeah, fan boat. He's the one that arranged it. So we will have that tomorrow. Obviously, if the wind keeps up, we may not really need it, but as well as anybody, what it's like when there's no wind, right? And we're sitting in this bowl, and it's just like, hey, it's smoked out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you got Wiz Khalifa, Willie Nelson, and Snoop Dogg all just hanging out right in the center. Bunch of smoke. Taking a look at the standings and our qualifying. So, Kazuya Taguchi, Ryan Literal, obviously we go from bottom to top, and it's really impressive and really cool to see Literal out of the gate do well. Kazuya Taguchi throw down a banger. So there's our ticker. Kazuya Taguchi leads. Literal, Reader, Mike Power. I don't think it's any surprise, but this is just a testament to anybody can win a round of Formula Drift competition. So it's pretty exciting to see, obviously, those drivers step up. And there it is, Trenton Beecham with the 81.33 in the K&N knockout qualifying. Joining me here in the booth, host of the Outer Zone? Outside Zone? Outer Zone. I just know it as the Formula Drift podcast. Jacob joining me here in the booth, and you'll recognize the voice in the blue beanie if he comes on camera. But Jacob, I see you down there with your wife. But I'm going to wrap out here about Odi Bakshi's field suspension S15 jumps into that first outside zone. See those wheels go around the consize now, coming to a halt now, coming down off that bank into that inside clip. Ooh, looked like he had a little adjustment there. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. Made a small micro adjustment, still ended up hitting that front clip. You can see that front fender there, the headlight coming off with one headlight. Big fan of who's that one headlight?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Cheap Trick? Cheap Trick?
No, it's not Cheap Trick. Here we go. So joining me here in the booth, Jacob, and you've done a great job, the Outer Zone podcast, interviewing different drivers as well as myself and Formula Drift staff, Kevin Wells most recently.
I know. I'm trying to get through the whole rotation, drivers, everything else.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
It's going to be tough, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it seems like you're having a good time, and you're coming at it with an approach. If you have not listened to the Outer Zone, Formula Drift's official podcast, they're lengthy, episodes from an hour to an hour and a half, but I think it deserves it to go more in-depth on judging, criteria, stance, branding, different aspects, getting in the head of off-season, what it takes to prep a car. Something like Jonathan Hurst being really kind of honest and transparent about, hey, man, I'm doing this for the love of the game. I'm not getting rich doing this, but I'm going to die trying.
Yeah, it's trying to get into their heads. It's trying to provide information that's very difficult to normally get out of drivers.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time for them to express themselves, but, we do our best.
Odi Bakshi's taking a look here, and what are you seeing? Analyze this run. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's Simon Olsen. Simon's actually.
Simon Olsen. Thank you so much.
I was spacing I didn't know when to correct you.
Well, you came in here and threw me off. Simon Olsen, my goodness.
Simon's been absolutely crushing it in practice all day. His chase runs are incredible. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on with his lead on this one. Up against the wall, it looks like he was a little bit shallow. Coming off the bank, you'll see the car adjust just a little bit, and you can see trying to get into that first inside clip, he's a little bit shallow, and that kind of sets up the rest of the run for him to be kind of chasing to get back in. So, yeah, it's definitely not what he looked like in practice earlier today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for correcting me. When I'm all the way done and said Odi's names multiple times. Odi Bakshi's obviously very similar look, but obviously with the orange. Simon Olsen, another Norwegian driver, has never driven an S chassis, never driven an LS vehicle, and he's just gaining with every round of competition. So I digress. Simon Olsen, good job. Points of reference, like you said, definitely could tighten it up here and there. But Jacob, anything else you want to add about the podcast? And
no, I mean, really just thank you everybody for subscribing and watching. The feedback has been incredible. We do read all the comments, good, bad, otherwise, and we try to take as many notes from that to improve the show. So yeah, looking forward to it. We've already recorded the next episode, which is a former champion. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the show yet, Eder Zone available.
Smash
everywhere.
that like button, swipe, subscribe, tell a friend, tell your grandma, do a
Exactly.
bam, 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 bam.
Exactly.
Best interview you think? Mine. Thank you so much. All right, thanks for joining us, Jacob. And maybe one you have in the can, an interview that you're looking forward to.
Yeah, the one I'm looking forward to right now is going to be James Dean. We've got a full dossier. We've dug back to, I mean, a couple of days after he was born at this point.
Okay, let's keep it creepy.
Yeah,
All right, well, thanks for joining me up here, Jacob. Thank you again. Check out Outer Zone, the official Formula Drift podcast. Some great insight of the drivers, the crew, the staff, the mentality, all the elements and insight. Jacob does a great job with that signature raspy voice. He's got it, and we talked about that. He was a singer and hurt his vocal cords. That's why the injury to his cords. Actually, did you know that, Ryan?
I did know that. Yeah,
you're like, dude, bro, cough. He's like, I can't. This is it. It's all you get.
No, it's actually a really amazing story. I don't know if he thinks of it as good or bad, but he certainly has that voice for podcasting, and he's so smart. He's got a great intellect on the history of the sport, and he's not afraid to do research.
Darren Kelly from New Zealand, the heart of racing, Aston Martin. I almost just want to lay out and listen to the exhaust notes. Speaking of operatic and vocal cords, this thing sounds so good. As Darren Kelly, DK, a champion. Oh gosh, it sounds so good, just like Killer Bees. Going past that second inside clip now to that second outside zone, finds the space, little weeble wobble there, shimmies his way across the finish line. But it's great to see him, again, develop that car, second season out with that heart of racing Aston Martin GT radial tires on the corners. DK, again, a champion in his native country of New Zealand. Love New Zealand myself. Admittedly, I'd move there in a heartbeat, to be quite honest. I love New Zealand.
It's one of my favorite things about the sport is that we can have a diversity of not just drivers, but also vehicles, build, type, manufacturer, weight, size, all that kind of stuff. And I would really hate if the sport, went away from that. It's one of the things that I enjoy the most is like hearing a story, like in this particular one, hey, they're thinking about doing this. And you're like, wow, are you serious?
Wow, okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And, Darren Kelly, he's definitely started to kind of build on what he's learned in FD over the past season or so, and you can see that starting to pay benefits now. He certainly looks a lot more competitive in the car. His qualifying run is an example of that. He looks a lot more comfortable in the car, and this run is an example of that, and hopefully he can continue to do that throughout the remainder of the season.
Just a side note, one headlight was sung by the Wallflowers. Jacob Dylan was at the helm of that band, so thank you to Adam Jabay for giving me some insight there. With one headlight, remember that? No, okay.
Nah,
that was your rave days.
You'll have memory from those days.
Yeah. Wash, rinse, repeat. All right. Here we are, 82.33. Darren Kelly slides into 8th position. DK Darren Kelly in the heart of racing Aston Martin GT radials on the corners, 82.33. K&N knockout qualifying continues as our leaderboard ticks along. Taguchi literal reader, top 3. Just want to be in that top 24. Again, we take the top 24. The remaining drivers have to complete their second run in order to get and fill those final 8 spots. Jonathan Castro, who Ryan and I, we agree on a lot of things, but this one emphatically, probably the most iconic run ever, and it happened here in Orlando. I mean, we are screaming like schoolgirls. It was amazing. Jonathan Castro, James Dean, and here's Castro. So Castro back with that Mobil 1, the LTH Toyota GR86. Here we go. Jonathan Castro from Dominican Republic comes into that first outside zone, very settled. Those white wheels shining bright and shows you, he does go a little bit outside that line. He hung it out there to dry, man. That thing is bone dry. And then here we come into a little attitude up into the bank, but now right into the outside zone. And Jonathan Castro, a lot of fans cheering on the DR driver, that LTH GR86.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw the video. He brought rainwater from Dominican Republic
no.
on the place. Check out the video. I posted it. It was dope. It was really beautiful. He brought rainwater. It was raining in DR. Brought it on the plane, delivered it here, poured it on his car. They did a little seance. Maybe brought him some luck.
Well, there you go. I mean, that should get the job done. And as you said, he's very comfortable at this track. He did have that all-time run against James Dean, and I think for new fans, especially because we are seeing a lot of new fans in the sport, it's worth going back and watching that run again, because the context of that run was that James Dean just seemed unstoppable every single battle. And then if you even want to say little old Castro goes down and lays one of the best chase runs that all of us have ever seen, and hopefully he can continue that this weekend. Certainly, I believe some of that power came from being, close to home and being able to have that support from all his family members and friends and things like that. As we look at the run here, as you said, he went a little bit long in outside zone 1, had a tiny little flub on the infield transitioning to the second outside zone, but outside zone 2 filled it pretty completely and was able to finish strong.
All right, so here we are taking a look at it again. Orlando Speed World, the Type S lights lighting up. If you have not picked up your Type S lights, we have event specials going on. Go to the Formula Drift booth or the Type S booth on LED lights, the underglow, third brake light kits. We have jump starters with built-in USB-C cables and LCD display. We got the Larry Chen light. There's a 360 LED video light and power bank. So it's a light if you're a photographer or if you just need to light stuff up for video or whatever. And it's also, again, a power bank so you can charge your devices. Very, very cool. Happy birthday to Matt Pigeon, or Pagan. He's turning 38 today. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Matt. 38 today. Your brother Mike slid in those DMs, said what's up. So, all right. And here we are, 80.66. 80.66. Dominican's finest. That's what the hat says. And he's showing you why. Jeff Jones, Evil Auto Works. Nissan 370Z, NRG, GT Radial, Prisma, Jeff Jones and Evil Auto Works here in Southern California. Big Drift Energy. Let's see what Jeff Jones has got. Green means go, and that's what you see on the walls, under the car, and on the windshield. Jeff Jones comes down, drops in. A little bit of correction there, kind of maybe questioning his line, Ryan. You saw, again, a quick micro adjustment to get and hit, actually, that inside clip, both of them. Oh, what? Oh, okay. All right. Well, Jeff Jones throwing a little extra flair in there.
A little added bonus for you.
Yeah, it reminds me of Sam Humanette back in there. Drift you later, dude.
Well, one of the highlights for me last year was seeing Jeff on the podium at Irwindale, a well-deserved podium finish for him, and I know that he wants to continue to build on that progress. Let's take a look at the run as he goes mid-high line on the bank, pretty consistent coming down. He is going to get into that inside clip, and that allows him, or does not allow him, to transition as aggressively as you would like to inside clip number 2. Now right here, really utilizing that left foot brake. He's on the inside of the outside zone, though, so he's not going to be able to maximize full points there, but he does try to get a few extra style points there past the finish line. I'm sure the judges will say that he was maintaining control across the finish line, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. But you can see there that the infield was a little bit touch and go for him there. He was able to hang on to it, but the line that he was drawing kind of forced him on the inside, and he wasn't able to get as deep as he wanted to on outside zone 2.
All right, so Castro got his score, but right now it's all Jeff Jones. So Jeff Jones, again, counters, runs across, throws up the fist. He knew what he was doing there. See what kind of score Jeff Jones receives for that run. Beautiful evening here. Orlando Speed World, round 3. Type S Scorched, presented by AutoZone. Just joining us, Jared Dienda, Ryan Sage, your tour guides. Our 3 judges, Ryan Lontaine, Brian Egger, and Robbie Nishida. Chris Yule helping the driver steward situation. You can see how stiff the wind is. 83, that's an 83. So good X Factor score there for Jeff Jones. Puts him into 8th position. Good score for Jeff Jones. Pulling up to the line, full pull, Taylor Hull, at Comp Cam's Yellow Speed Racing Corvette from Georgia. If you haven't picked up your limited edition 20 years of Formula Drift, again, just this year, celebrating 20 years. It all began in 2004 at Road Atlanta, available now at the Formula Drift merchandise booth. The red, white, and blue, Comp Cam's Edelbrock, Wild Willys. If you haven't picked some of that beard oil up, it's pretty sweet. Got a bunch of beard care and hair care products. Pick it up, Wild Willys. Koenig Wheels on the corner, wrapped with some Kenda tires. Proudly stand up, do-do-do, next to you. Talk about that wall. There we go, red, white, and blue. And a lot of white coming out the side and the back end of Taylor Hull's Corvette. Woo! Blazing a trail right now. From Georgia, full pull. What do we got here? Taylor Hull. Really solid run here for Taylor Hull. Does exceed that line a little bit. But overall, that's what we're looking for. Just pushing that razor's edge. Sometimes you get cut, but you know you're going into battle.
Well, let's take a look here. Taylor Hull trying to come out of the game with a big initiation there. Holds that angle, locks in pretty high on the bank, gets off just right at the right time. A little bit tight on that inside clip. We're seeing a few drivers do that, and then look what it does to inside clip 2. Makes it a little bit less fluid, a little bit less committed, but locked in right here, outside zone 2, pretty much all the way around. Here it is on board with the FPV drone. Let's take a look. You can see as he's coming down, he hits the right front on that inside clip, and then that pushes him a little bit wide, but he's able to make a good enough adjustment to keep most of the rear wheels in that outside zone for pretty much the entirety of that zone.
All right, Taylor Hull awaits the score. I think it's going to be pretty reflective of a good run. Love the aggressiveness that Taylor Hull possesses. And when he's running 100, give that extra special sauce, and that's what's going to separate again, the big scores. All right, fans kicking it here. A nice casual Friday. Tomorrow, game day. Excited to tune in. Tune in and tune up, baby. And here comes in the score for Taylor Hull, an 83.33. 83.33, so again, leaving some points out there on the track. Oh man, always a crowd favorite. Kristaps Blush, coming us from Latvia at a hiatus of 5 years, and now the creator of the HGK Eurofighter, Kristaps Blush. Love this dude, one of the most epic moments ever, driving off the car stands in Atlanta. He has such a big personality, but speaks so softly. It's so funny. But there's big drift energy. Watch HGK, Kristaps Blush, GT radial tires, flicks it in, tries to blend into the green wall. You see him working that wheel, throwing some more angle at it. Past that inside clip, really good precision driving right there. Handles that second one. Let's see what we got here. Middle of that inside clip. Let's take a look at that second inside clip, the line. He says he hasn't changed this thing in 5 years, so this is basically a similar setup and showing you that how competitive he is and was.
That front right was locked. I mean, you can actually see right there, he's basically got that thing completely locked all the way around, really trying to manipulate it. Now he started low and moved his way high. The judges want to see full commitment from the beginning. Better on out an inside clip too. He goes a little bit wide there, and then that forces him on a tighter line. And when you're going to make those kind of mistakes, what you want to try to do, secret, be known, hide it as much as you can from the judges. And that means not doing anything so overt that they pick up on it and they really give you a big deduction. If you make a mistake like that, you can slowly but with style, be able to get back to where you need to go to. I think that that's going to serve you better than a bigger correction that's more noticeable.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. Obviously, like you said, slyly, but don't do it abrupt. If you're going to like correct, and it could really throw you off, and then it's just insult to injury, right? So if you come back, try to correct, and you come back in and your wheels are all wonky, that's really going to highlight it and showcase it. So I think he did the right thing. Just stayed in it and then powered through and then put the car in the right place. So he did go off course there, overshooting that second outside zone or second inside clip, going into the second outside zone. Orlando, how we doing out there? Make some noise. Oh, come on. I know, the sun's gone down. It's nice Friday evening, nice Friday afternoon. Make some noise, Orlando! There we go. All right, a 79.33 puts him in a 16th position. That's pretty threatening of being pretty low here with a lot of drivers still left to go here in our K&N knockout qualifying. Daniel Stuckey, M-Spec Performance, S Chassis. Now, this is a driver who, again, talking about that Outer Zone podcast, he had a great interview. Really just loved his energy overall. The Vitour tires, he's loving these tires, and he's just found the sweet spot, man. So let's see if Stuckey gets Stokied on his run. Good angle from him. Look at that, lifting that front right, coming to a halt. Ripping past that inside clip. Stuckey, look at this. Tight to that second inside clip. And then filling all of that outside zone. Even bringing it to that razor's edge there in the last, let's call it the third of that last outside zone.
Well, he's another driver, Jared. I think you would agree that his skill development, whether it be driving skill itself or actually development of the car and knowledge of the car, has really been exponential over the past year or so. We've really seen him kind of really become a player in the game in a lot of different ways, and it's great to continue to see him improve. He's one of those kind of guys, if you said, hey, would you be surprised if he got on a podium this year? You would say no. It's the same with Jonathan Hurst and guys like that have really been showing something special to us in getting later and later into rounds at these events and actually just showing driving and qualifying that kind of says, oh, yeah. If that was skinned with Frederick Oswald's car, I could kind of see that. And so that I think that is one of the things that makes this pool of drivers that we have this year so impressive, is that there are no gimmies in the top 32 anymore.
Not at all. And I don't even like the term dark horse because there's just a bunch of horses, you know. So anybody could really show up, as we saw, you know, even last round. All right, waiting for Stuckey's score. Taking a look, I believe it's Kazuya Taguchi still at the top of the heap. Ryan Literal right behind him. Boom. 93.6, Kazuya Taguchi, Up Garage, ISR Performance. Ryan Literal, Travis Reeder, Mike Powerson in fourth, and rounding out top five, Adam LZ. So we'll see if that holds. I'm going to go on a limb and say no, as far as, you know, the drivers we are yet to see. It's going to shake things up. Again, we start from the bottom and work our way to the top.
If I had to guess, I think the marker is going to be low to mid 70s.
Oh, like the cutoff.
Probably, something like that.
Again, you want to be,
look at that.
89.66, Dan Stuckey. X Factor, look at that, 5, 8, and 4. Yo, like it. Robbie giving him an 8 out of 10.
Wow,
really liking
it real
that.
Clear.
Yeah. So Robbie giving out some X Factor points.
X gonna give it to you.
Ooh. Yo, bro. All right, Alec Robbins, NST, nonstop tuning, Kenda tires. Let's see what we got here for Alec Robbins. Now coming down into that first outside zone, Robbins. Good angle from him. Rides that wall. Brings it all the way out there. Really tight on that inside clip. This is just good flow for some of these guys. This track really suits some of these drivers. Oh, gets up on that bank a little bit. Dips down. Big angle. Alec Robbins. The crowd exploding here for Robbins. The track just seems like it suited him. It's like, that was sick.
He actually lights on fire there towards the end. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
The right front starts to, actually the left front start to get really hot. Probably doing a lot of braking there, and there it is. You can actually see on the replay that I have in front of me, Jared. But now he's down on course. We'll score this, and then we'll probably take a quick break here. But, you know, many people that may have been watching for a while may have even forgot that Alec Robbins qualified #1 in St. Louis with one of the most insane runs that we've ever seen at that course. And so he has that in him. He's another driver that continues to build and get better round by round. And him doing well is not going to be a surprise to anybody. Right there, he does have a pretty decent sized mistake. The judges really don't want to see you exceed that outside zone and show lift in the vehicle. But he stays deep into outside zone 1, pretty tight on inside clip 1. The transition was, I would say, better than average. It put him in a good position to hit this outside zone well, but he didn't complete it and execute it as well as he probably wanted to. So we're leaving a few points on the table there.
Alec Robbins awaiting the score, seeing that bird's eye view, the POV angle. All right, so it looks like Alec did catch a little fire, had to put some fire extinguisher juice on it. So dropping some solvent there on the track. Once we get Alec Robbins' score, we're gonna take a short little break, continue with the action. But Alec Robbins, you can see the flames, poof, right there, shooting out. Getting underneath the car. So shut it down. All right, little cleanup there. That's right on track, but some solvent, soak it up. Matt Sopa, who's been a pleasure to work with for Pro Spec. He's up here in the booth announcing Pro Spec competition, and here's Alec Robbins, a 90.66. Puts him into 4th position. Like I said, shaking things up, man, as we move closer and closer to the top, which Matt Field is currently leading the points. When we come back, our Type S Scorch presented by AutoZone. Right here, round 3 of the Formula Drift Championship. Don't go anywhere.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime! Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
Rockstar energy. Gets me energized so I can go out and send it. Hustle on.
Here for round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Type S scorched. Well, right now it is very pleasant, great weather out there. Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Find Type S here in the building. Special event pricing. So be sure to visit the booth. And here's our last year's winner in a soaked event.
Pressure, no pressure, doesn't matter, not a big deal. Another day on the job.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's feeling confident. I think he had a decent Atlanta. He had a decent Atlanta.
Oh, look at that. There we go. Let's go. That is a digital representation of the live telemetry data that's coming off of the car. So you're going to see mile per hour. You're also going to see the G-force, which is a mimicking of the light. The one feature that is not on there, that will be a feature that we'll add throughout the year, is we also have a TPS sensor that will show throttle control. So throttle control, speed, decel, acceleration, and all the things that come along with it. This is awesome.
Here we go. Dylan Hughes, Royal Purple, O'Reilly Auto Parts, BMW. All right, so 56 miles per hour. You can see that. So coming now down into that second inside clip. Now into that second outside zone, Dylan Hughes brings it. Look at that right there on the line. Puts those Forge Star wheels wrapped in GT radial right on that razor's edge. Well done there by Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Gives a little shout out. Nice run there.
I think a lot of people may have been confused as to why Dylan did so well in the wet last year, but they don't know his background. And if you know his background, you know how much time he spent in those conditions being in the Pacific Northwest. That was something that he really excelled at, and he showed another level that we don't often get to see because we really don't have torrential downpour all the time at the events, let alone lightning strikes and a lot of other crazy things. So he showed a new part of his skill set that I think was super impressive, and again, became one of the 7 drivers that we had winning events last year.
Also, his background working at Dirtfish, which is a rally school up there in the Pacific Northwest. He worked there, and his dad worked there, and so he had a kind of a family affair going down and ripping around on the dirt. So learning the loose driving definitely contributes to his driving acumen. All right, taking a look here again. Ryan, walk us through. What do you think of Dylan's run?
Well, I like the aggressiveness. There's some precision aspects of this as well, especially on inside clip 1 and 2. And look how that allows him to get into the deeper part of outside zone 2. Notice the threading of the needle of the right rear wheel along the outside zone all the way through. I think this is going to be a pretty solid score for him overall. I think also, too, it just demonstrates his comfort level in wet and dry conditions, because remember, Jared, we came out of wet conditions this morning with the rain that was coming down, and that did take a while for it to basically evaporate. So drivers, we're not always getting the most consistent conditions, and I think right there what we're seeing for a lot of the drivers is that they are very capable at making those adjustments.
Bam, a 91.33 for Dylan Hughes, our winner here last year. Is this his track? Does he love Orlando? Well, obviously he loves it the most out of all the drivers. I don't think he's praying for rain, but if it happens, he's ready to deal with it, man. He'll take it on. He is the dozer. 91.33 for Dylan Hughes. Ryan Turk, Rain-X, Toyota, GR Corolla, the race service boys cheering him on.
You know what Samuel Hubinette's nickname for Ryan Turk was?
No. Turkey.
Yep.
Ryan Turkey. It's not Thanksgiving, but guess what? Shannon's in the building, his wife cheering him on. Big angle there from Ryan Turk and the GR Corolla. Past that inside clip, just riding the course. Look at that. I mean, that was spot on. Look at that, just transition right on the course's edge. That Nitto tire filling all of it. Woo!
Well, remember, he had a 98 in Long Beach. And by the way, do you know Ryan Turk's nickname for Sam Lehubenet? Swedish fish.
That's great. That was a good one. Those are both great.
Again, Ryan Turk here demonstrating his abilities. He had that 98 in Long Beach, which was about a 6-point differentiator between him and the second-place competitor. So we know that Turk has got levels upon levels in him that he can, basically push to try to beat his opponent, and he's going for it right here. He did not have the performance that he wanted, the result that he wanted in Road Atlanta. He wants to come back strong like Long Beach and have a better result here at Orlando, which is an event that on paper seems like could suit him very well.
Yeah, he's seen success at kind of all the track setups, from New Jersey to Atlanta, as you said, as qualifying, Long Beach. He's fought back, he's just ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Let it be noted too, his team took him 15 minutes to do a full engine swap in Atlanta. He popped the engine right before qualifying in Atlanta, got it together, and did it in 15 minutes. Pulled the engine, put the new one in, and just all those little finite details to make sure it's all buttoned up is insane.
Let it be known, dog.
All right, so Ryan Turk awaiting the score. There's Larry Chen. Larry, how we doing?
What do you think? How do you think the judges are going to let it be known here?
Say it again.
What's the score? It's going to be a good one,
94.
Right? It's going to, it's solid.
I think 94.
It's definitely above 90s, I would say.
Yeah. 90, so I think he's going to take the #1 spot.
Wow.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, you can bet online right now. Turk's a plus 700 at FormulaD.com. Book it. So
if I bet it, well, I can't because I'm not allowed. But
right.
If somebody were to bet $100 and Turk wins the event, you get 700.
Is that what it is?
Basically how that rolls.
Game?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. So currently 93.66 Kazuya Taguchi. Does Ryan Turk better than his Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla? Nitto tires. 94.66. What did I say? Told you, 94. 94.66. Look at that X factor. 8.33. Qualifying score, 86.33. So look at that. 86, 87, 86, 9, 9, and 7.
Wow.
Woo. Brian Egger, a little harsh with the X factor points.
You're the oracle of drifting right now.
No, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about it. I've seen quite a few runs, but that was very impressive. 94.66 for Ryan Turk. Again, he qualifies well, but just producing when it comes head-to-head, just some maybe pushing too hard. Talking about pushing too hard, this gentleman always pushes hard. Chelsea Denofa, Pennzoil, Mustang RTR, Spec 5 FD, big nasty initiation. He knows this track like the back of his hand. Holy cow, look at the cotton rolling out the back of this Ford Mustang. I mean, it is just billowing here. He does knock over that second inside clip. Look at the transition and the angle there. The pizza disco round and just rolling coal. Wow.
Every time that we would have a discussion about trying to very robustly define X factor as part of the scoring criteria, this man's name always came up because he's always doing something that just seems like a point of difference amongst the other drivers, whether it's a very unique and aggressive approach to initiation like this, swinging down low, throwing it right up against the wall, maintaining that distance to the wall all the way through, snappy transition back around from 1 to 2, getting a little bit tight there, right? You talked about maybe pushing a little bit too hard. Look at this smoke cloud billowing. Unbelievable amount of wheel speed while still maintaining momentum, while maintaining the appropriate angle. And notice how he starts low. He basically drives towards the wall and then throws the car into drift, catches it, whatever, 6 inches away from that outside zone, and then holds it there. So, yes, okay, he hits the inside clip 2, he gets into outside zone 2 a little bit late, but are you not entertained?
Yeah, no, absolutely. He did a great job there. A little too aggressive on that second inside clip. Looks like he almost just hit right of center on that front RTR grill. The Type S LED lights are on. You can see those turbofan, those discs out back. They're running a high offset wheel, so they didn't want a flush look. So you see how disrupted that front bumper was.
And no, I don't know if you noticed, but on the decel lights, they never really went away from green through the transition area, which is totally Chelsea to NOFA. It basically just means he's floored all the way through, and the clutch is out.
All right, here we go. 94, 94.0. So he does not get the number 1 spot, but just behind Ryan Turk with a 94 X Factor, 9, 10, and 8. So that averages obviously to a 9.
Wow,
Robbie Nishida says, yo, give it all.
The shit is like going crazy right now.
Yeah, right? Wow. All right. Some great driving here, just moving on and progressing through. So look at the ticker. Turk, Denofa, and Taguchi, your top 3.
Robbie Nishida is in a very interesting situation if you think about what he spends his time on. This is an ultimate car guy, right? He was a pro driver for 15 years. Yep. He does both FD USA, and he's been doing FD Japan for like at least the past 6 or 7. This guy sees more driving than I think anybody in terms of being live at the event, the type of drivers, the type of cars, the type of setup. So when he gives a 10 on an X Factor, that is very meaningful.
Game. Here we go, Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang gang, let's get nuts. Yellow Speed Racing. Talking about this S15, the V8. Locks it up, those chrome wheels not spinning up front, but they're spinning out back. Always has big angle. Now transitions into that inside clip. Always great looking cars and puts it right into that outside zone. Look at that beautiful shot there. Always just cool looking liveries, wheels, setups, just overall. Always got great looking cars and look even better going sideways with all that smoke out back.
When you think about the things that make the 20th season special, for sure you're talking about James Dean and Vaughn Gittin Jr., but it's also about this guy as well. Let's remember that he essentially was more or less locked out of competition last year because of the driver car cap count. And I knew in the back of my head that when he came this year, it was going to be worth the wait. And it was going to be worth the payoff. And we are seeing him come back with that same silky smooth style. But now he's kind of added the speed to his program. Now he's going to make that adjustment in qualifying because the speed is less of a factor here. But just wait until you see him in head-to-head action. He will maintain pace with any driver on the field.
Yep. All right, Forrest Wang waits his score. All right. Waiting for Forrest Wang's score as we ripping through the drivers. Remember, we take the top 24, and then the remaining drivers backfill the final 8 positions. Again, shout out to Robert Goodwin. Want to make sure I'm understanding Robert Goodwin. He had a stroke and he's getting back and getting better. So shout out to Robert Goodwin, part of the FD family. And there's an 88. Man, the car number 808 with the 88. All right, so Forrest Wang slides into the 9th position currently. All right, now here's Odie Bakshis. I mistakenly was calling Simon Olsen earlier. He's got the yellow, and now you could denote them by orange or the high-vis yellow. So Odie Bakshis now coming into that Pedal Commander burnout box. Feel suspension. S15. And Odie working with Ben Hobson in Pro Spec. He podiums it there in Atlanta. And Odie pulls up to the line. GT radial tires. Kansai wheels. And that Vortex supercharged V8 under the hood. The pedal commander, let's see how he's going to do. Again, Simon Olsen, Ben in the pro spec, and now Odie, obviously here in pro. Red lights extinguished, and here we go. Through that start chicane. Not part of the equation, that's not until tomorrow, but get familiar with it. Odie initiates, quick little tap of the brakes. He is dragging it on the wall. Yes, sir, the Ineos oil running through the veins now past. Quick little correction, that was a micro correction. The judges go aghast as they were absolutely looking for a burner. Oh man, outside of that micro correction, another stellar run. But you saw the brakes kind of lock up, a little quick hip check.
Well, it wasn't too long ago, I want to say 16, 17, that Odie won the first 2 events of the year. And it looked like he was going to walk away from it. And I think there is still a lot left on the table for this driver, this veteran, who feels like he should have already had a championship or 2. He's that good. And as you said, just a little bit of a correction coming through this center section here. Kind of get stuck on the transition from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2. But still, even as much as he has been around, continues to demonstrate the ability to get better year after year. And a lot of people, I don't know if they follow just how amazing of a suspension engineer Odie is and what he has done in terms of educating people and developing the proper setup for drifting vehicles. He is just so good at that and understands the geometry of cars so well, and that's why you get to see that application playing out here on course whenever he goes out and drives.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers are utilizing, other competitors are utilizing his knowledge in the suspension world, and that came from 2 wheels. He was doing moto stuff previously to 4 wheels, and then just you put your body through so much abuse, and he decided to switch from 2 wheels to 4 wheels and has never looked back. Still dabbles in 2 wheels, and his wife's a spotter. He's got his lovely daughter and son, and they're constantly grinding. They got a great shop, a good setup, and just overall lives it, breathes it, does it all the time.
Yeah, they did something. I'm sure
Banana Man.
I'm sure Amy wouldn't mind me sharing this, but they did something really cool. They stayed down here and went camping from Atlanta
cool.
instead of going home. And, that's not something you get to, really experience that often unless you decide, oh, look at that.
91.33 for Odie Bakshies. Looks like he's camping, he's cool, but guess what? He's here to get down. So a 91.33 for Odie Bakshies.
But yeah, just to finish that, it's one of the cool things I think about the sport are the experiences that you get to have between rounds.
Absolutely.
And the things that you get to do with your not just your competitors, your compatriots, but also with your family.
Yep. Yeah, I know Justin Pollock did that one whole summer. Took him and his wife and their son. They did a whole 3-month RV trip. It was insane. So
game.
Jonathan Hurst, the pride of Paducah, Mr. Cool BMW, probably the loudest car on grid. So if you don't like loud noises, you might want to plug your ears. This thing is loud. The carbon Kevlar. It's got the Vitours on the corners. Cash Racing Dynasty. Let's go. Jonathan Hurst, Mr. Cool BMW. Initiates into that big outside zone. Look at that. Man, AR-15 sticking out of the hood, it looks like. Past that inside clip, transitioning now to that second inside clip. A little bit off, want to see a different angle there. Now into that outside zone. Wow. Yeah, there we go. So, again, just firing off.
If that guy doesn't have a long future in the sport, nobody does, because it's just amazing what hard work and determination will do. And he is a shining example of that. And, it also doesn't hurt that he's just a really incredible driver and person on top of it. And you just get to see a little bit of an example of that here as he is, placed pretty well in the rankings right now, trying to continue to build on the program, trying to continue to get those good results, finishing up this last outside zone, just right at the edge of the zone there, solid all the way through for him. and I think that will be definitely a keeper. Let's take a look at it from above. You can see he rolls on the throttle a little bit later than I think he probably wanted to, and he's on a mid-high line and made a little tiny adjustment there, but great on inside clip 1. You can see he just barely taps it and it wavers it, so very precise. And then in outside zone 2, he locks into this line. He starts going a little bit deeper and finishes up right there at the edge of the course.
Yeah, just a sweetheart of a human being. Like I said, talking to Jacob up here, host of the Outer Zone, the official Formula Drift podcast, got a good insight inside his brain, inside his program, his mentality, his competition. Overall, just one of my favorite. Really enjoyed that with Jonathan Hurst. All right, we're starting to get up to the top of the heap here. I believe top 5, top 6, right? As James Dean here, 3-time champion, back to back to back. One of the best runs we've seen out here, but keep in mind, previously when he won those championships, he was behind the wheel of an S15, a 2J powered S15. Now here he is in a brand new, all new, and also the first right-hand drive, all new 2024 Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Jonathan Hurst with an 89, and 89 puts him in a 10th position. He'll find himself in the show tomorrow, no problem. So now those low scores, you start to get a little nervous if you're forced to go into that second run, especially for Gucci and Mohan with those incompletes. Here's James the Machine Dean, AutoZone, Fun Haver, RTR, Spec 5 FD. And here we go, out of the gate. Let's see what James Dean's got. Taps that brakes, adds through the car, gets a little wonky there, a little shaky. Taps that wall. Brian, he overshoots it. Hung on the wall maybe a little too long. Now transitions into the second. Wow, look at that. Pulling that front left wheel off the ground. And now into that last outside zone. So has some points of refinement there, especially on initiation, but you can just tell the aggressive nature. You know, he saw Adam throw down. He saw Chelsea, how aggressive he was. I think Chelsea maybe gave him a little pointers here and said, hey, go for it, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think we have to remember there are so many new fans coming into this sport. James Dean is widely considered by a very large group of people to be the best drifter in the world, in history. And for him to jump into a brand new car, test it in a very short time frame, and do what he's done so far and being in the top 5 is just incredible. And it's going to continue to get better and better. As you said, a couple little mistakes there, a couple little flubs, maybe a little bit of lack of precision in some areas. But overall, even with that, right up against the wall, he drops that left rear tire going over the line there. If you are going to make a mistake, I do know that the judges prefer that you make a mistake in over-aggressiveness as opposed to tentativeness.
Right.
And that is typically what we see with a driver like James Dean.
Yeah, and just exceeding that line. Watch this. You see him, so he gets at it, and then you see him tap the wall. I think that really disrupted him, so that's where it gripped up, shoots him out. That's where he explodes that back bumper. Yeah, maybe taking tips from Chelsea isn't the best idea. Just all the bumpers that he shreds through. All joking aside, obviously Chelsea, very talented.
What did you do, Chelsea? I did da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, I'll do that minus 20%.
All right, so.
Staying out of the code.
Yep. Staying out of the walls? Nope. Speaking of Denofa, he sits in second behind Ryan Turk, Kazuya Taguchi, 93.66. Look at Literal. The first driver out of the gate sits in fourth. Congrats to him, man. He's chilling like Bob Dylan on penicillin. Look at the wind getting even stiffer. 89.66. So there you go, Ryan. So X Factor still an 8. Still an 8 given all of the, kind of the hitting of the wall. But again, they're, rewarding, kind of going for it. K&N knockout qualifying continues. RCP, Rome Charpentier, Garagistic, BMW. Excited to see what Rome has under his hood. Just gaining a lot of fans, young and old. Got the Vitor tires, a newcomer, a new tire manufacturer entering the Formula Drift Championship. Pedal Commander booth. If you have not already heard, BC Racing created a collaboration beer. If you're here in the area, Hourglass Brewing, BC Racing came together, 7.5% ABV, Trackside Tropical. Love the name.
You gonna get down?
I already had some last night, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was at the deal last night. Cool.
Yeah.
How was that?
I invited you. You didn't come. I know you had stuff to do. It's okay. I'm joking. But I felt compelled that it was good. Awesome brewery, good times. And thank you to Cody Slack for putting that all together from BC Racing. Here we go. Rome Charpentier, Garageistic, BMW, give moderns hell. That's what it says on the wing. See if he can tap that wing on the wall. He is ripping. Look at that massive angle from Rome. Big angle. Those Vitors ripping up. Now shooting into that second inside clip. Again, another little micro correction. Maybe got thrown off. Explodes that front bumper. Does exceed that outside line just a little bit. Man. Wow. Rome.
Yeah, he's
Seems
another
angry.
He's another driver that, from my mind, has shown just how far you can get in a short period of time with hard work and commitment.
Progression. That's just a word that comes to my mind.
He has just attacked every aspect of this sport, tried to understand it at a more granular level, and gone after it and try to pursue his dream. And it's no surprise that in a very short time he finds himself in the top 5. Let's get a look at the run here. You can see gets off that outside zone right at the right time. Good job on that inside clip. Nice transition back around. A little bit tight on that second inside clip. And as he swings into this final outside zone, he locks on that line and stays pretty consistent all the way around. As you said, a couple little minor things, but overall it was a pretty solid run. I think it will be scored well. And notice he's opting to take that big bank with very little left foot braking. Not that that's a good or a bad thing. Drivers are allowed to use their tools up to a certain point. They don't want them overused. They don't want them over-abused. But he's taking a different approach, a different tact, trying to drive the car more freely.
Yeah, exploded that front bumper. But purely cosmetic, ideally. Yeah, it was really impressive on that outside zone, number 1. So you see that car, bam, just takes out. And he seemed like he hit it on the front left headlight, but it just totally throws the bumper out of whack. And Rome Charpentier comes in with an 85, and 85 puts him into position 15. RCP. In the Pedal Commander Burnout box, 3-time Formula Drift champion, Chris the Force Forsberg. Chris Forsberg debuted in that all-new Z last year. Runs the GTR engine, the VR, as it's denoted, the engine code, under the hood of the NOS energy drink. All-new Z. GT radials wrapped around those rotiform wheels. BC Racing in the corners, Magnaflow exhaust and Valvoline lubricants. Let's go. Chris the Force Forsberg comes out strong. He got a good qualifying run in Atlanta. Let's see if he can do it again. Really settled. You see the attitude of the vehicle, positioned properly. That exhaust note, listen to how even and smooth it is. No disruption. Quick little micro adjustment there, but does not take out the cone. Oh, does exceed that line. Brings it right back in. So a quick little dab of ranch on the outside and then brought it back in.
Micro adjustment, is that going to be your new thing now?
It's just right now. Yeah, the micro. Not a macro adjustment, a micro. I don't know, it just speaks to what they are
Better
doing.
Than small.
Yeah, just more finite. It's a more finite.
Here we go, Chris Forsberg getting things started nice and high on the bank. Very consistent line. I heard one of the judges say, oh, the transition, and you can see after big angle there, right there, he gets a little unsettled for a second, gets on the brakes, has to readjust, and that's okay. That's a decel area, but they want to see a fluid transition where you go lock to lock from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2. Let's get another look at it here. Big angle from Chris, nice and high on the bank. Deals with that bump really well. Yeah. It comes across, and you can see right there, just a little bit unsettled. Micro unsettling, if you will. And then he takes that right rear, goes up on exceeding that line for just a second there. So we'll see some deductions in that category. But really like the way that he aggressively approached the initiation. Very Denofa-esque, where he basically points the car towards the wall and shows that kind of that element of almost danger, so to speak, where basically you have to have complete confidence in your abilities to transition that car back around to put that back bumper on the wall.
Absolutely, some great points of interest there. An 87.33. So let's see how that spreads out. X Factor high, but as far as the scores between the three, yeah, all right. All right, taking a look at this, Frederick Osbo. All right, taking a look at the leaders here of our K&N Knockout Qualifying. K&N, the official performance air filter of Formula Drift. Turk leads the pack, Denofa, Taguchi, Literal, and Reader. Bakshi, Dylan Hughes, Alec Robbins, James Dean, and Daniel Stuckey. So this is where, again, the bubble. So again, if you're locked in at 24 after run 1, you're done. You're one and done. You don't need to take your second run. If you're 25th or lower, guess what? Put that helmet on. You got to take another run. Frederick Osbo, 3-time and defending Formula Drift champion, behind the wheel of his Rockstar Energy Toyota GR Supra on Nitto tires. Telemetry's up here. It's showing you Excel, decel. He throws it right into the wall. The gold nose and the gold back end getting up and intimate with that green wall here at OSW. Now comes into that first inside clip, clean transition, lifts that front wheel off. Again, another unsettling there of the drivers. You saw that front wheel get corrected, and he does exceed that line. So again, very similar to Forsberg's run there. You know, almost identical, where pointed at it, stuck it to the wall, that quick little adjustment, going to the second clip, and does exceed that line. So this should be very comparable to Chris Forsberg. Coincidentally, both are 3-time champions.
Yeah, I mean, this course in general seems like a course that is very well suited for Osbo. Well, almost any course is, but he has the ability to attack courses that have a mechanistic kind of feeling to them very, very well. And his team is so smart in the way that they approach these events, on really listening to what the judges say and trying to go after and complete that to the best possible ability that they can. As you said, the line that he was drawing on that final outside zone pushed him up a little bit further than he wanted to, but great job on the initiation. You can see he's keeping that throttle control very strong and drives right to the edge of the outside zone. Then transitions back around, very smooth right there. You can see that front wheel lift. And here's where you're talking about, Jared, right there. He goes a little bit wide for maybe, I don't know, a second and a half, and then he quickly makes that adjustment. Snappy transition right there, or initiation. Really, really enjoyed that. Super fun to watch. Osbo continues to bring really great style to the sport, and when he's on, he is one of the toughest guys in the world to beat.
All right. Freddie waits to find out. Again, sitting second in points is Frederick Osbo, defending champion. He was in the finals in Long Beach against our last and final qualifying run of Matt Field. Is it? Is it his final run, though? You sure about that? You sure about that, pal? Here we go. Matt Field pulling up to line as waiting for Osbo's score. Matt, the Beast from the Bay, and that Borla exhaust heat wave visuals. Lean Customs. Heat wave always dropping some heater shades. Got the lasers and the vices and the gear, dude. The gear is fire. I got a pair of those swim trunks and that almost like jet ski livery. They got some heat. Shout out to Justin Hurdle and the boys. Shout out to Hansel and the Lean Customs. They dropped the limited edition pin. Only 100 are being made, so it's Matt Field holding the ORL flag. So pick that up. Available only here at Formula Drift Orlando in the Lean Customs booth. So be sure to check that out. Here we go. Matt Field leads the pack. Still waiting for Frederick Osbo's score. You can see the GT radials on the corner. You know, this is his maiden year, his freshman year on GT radials. The Forge Star wheels shining bright, the white, black, and red. Got the Momo gear. Chow his spotter as Matt's gonna back it up real quick. Waiting for scores here from the judges. Freddie waits.
No, I think I can assure you this is more of a technical thing than it is the judges like adding up their scores or whatever.
Orlando, how are we doing out there? Here we go. Frederick Osbo gets a 91.66. 91.66. 8.6. All right, so 91.66. So position 5 for Frederick Osbo.
What's the marker for number 1? 90.
That is a 94.66.
Okay.
94.66. Ryan Turk, the teammate of Frederick Osbo. Follow Controlled Chaos, the series featuring those two Rockstar pilots. Here we go right now. The Beast of the Bay, Borla Exhaust, Heatwave Visuals, Lean Customs, Corvette. Winner at Long Beach, round 1. Big angle there from Matt Field. Rides that outside line, navigates about the second 1.5 tick mark on that first inside clip. Big angle, look at that. The Park Shop Max boys giving them all the angle, going for the goal. Look at that. Into that final outside zone. Don't know if that's going to be enough to take the number 1 spot, but obviously finds himself top 24.
Yeah,
Good run.
I feel like every event that Matt Field competes in, anything less than a high qualifying spot and not winning the event is a disappointment for him. And that's just because of the competitive prowess that he brings to these events. When he comes here, he wants to win. And he is going for that championship, and he knows that every point, every run, every battle is super important. And that's why you see him give so much to the effort, to his performance, and trying to make sure that he can get as far in competition as he possibly can.
Yep.
And, you know, that's what we will probably see for the remainder of the year. He's just been that way as he's been chasing down this championship.
You know, and it really came down to Irwindale last year. It seemed all signs are saying Matt was going to get the championship. You know, Osbo won in 21. 22 looked like Field was going to come together, and Mother Nature, the rain, just, hey, how you doing? Boom, Matt goes into the wall. And,
yeah,
and
it was that, but it also in Salt Lake. It started in Salt Lake. He didn't have the performance that he needed to have there to give himself that, you know, that cushion that you want.
Yep, the cushion for the championship. So Matt Field waits for his score. And again, we take the top 24, 25 and lower will have to fight for the final 8 positions. 94.6, 94, 93.6. Where's Matt Field going to slide in? And Matt Field, that Borla exhaust Corvette, the Drift Cave, the Cave Chronicles, documenting him and the boys up there in the Bay Area. Oh. All right, so waiting for Matt Field's score. That will be the final run for the first run. And again, only a limited amount of drivers will be forced to complete their second run. Look at Stuckey, so you can see Hurst, Wang, Forsberg, Power, LZ, all those guys are in. So there it is. So Holovnia, Beecham, Thorne. So I'm gonna say that Field's there. Field's gonna get into the mix, but Holovnia, Beecham, Thorne, Castro, Blush, Carney, Joao Berrion, Gucci, Jaeger, Higa, and Mohan. So you have all those drivers, and it looks like it's 10 drivers in total. No, that'll be 11 drivers fighting for 8 spots. Woo! So, because Matt, that's going to be enough to lock him in. So Holovnia will drop down to 25th.
All right. Well,
unofficially, that's looking at that.
Let's get rid of the tension. Give me Matt Field's score.
All right. So yeah, I need it. Give it to me. What do you want, man? What is it, man? Ryan Turk. And I believe you're going to have some words with our #1 qualifier, the K&N #1 qualifier. Again, unofficially, I think that Turk is going to hold on to it. Matt Field's run was great. I don't think it was enough to knock down that run.
Yeah, I mean, Turk is just demonstrating and picking up what he was able to demonstrate in Long Beach, just a couple of months ago. So
we're going meta right there.
This is something that he has really started to excel at. High quality qualifying positioning, gives himself a really great advantage going into tomorrow's competition.
And here we go, Matt Field with a 87, an 87. So you can see 87, 87. So congratulations to Matt Field. He's in the show. Again, Ryan Turk, your #1 qualifier. K&N knockout qualifying continues, but we'll have the second run. But Ryan Turk with a 94.66. Once again, your #1 qualifier. And Ryan's going to have some words with him in just a little bit. But when we come back, we'll see the second run of the bottom drivers to get the final 32. Just throws up on the early transitions.
Made in Japan. Breed. Passionate about a life in racing? Circle track, drag racing, drifting, or Monster Jam. Find it all at the University of Northwestern Ohio.
If you want to get everything you need to know about Monster Jam, about motorsports, you got to go to UNOH.
It's been the best opportunity I've ever taken. I've gotten so many opportunities, so many different connections.
You build every basic skill that you need to be able to work in racing and get your foot in the door.
See where your future can take you with a high-performance motorsports degree from the University of Northwestern Ohio.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Air Force, Aim High. Type S, the official lighting sponsor of Formula Drift. Lights, camera, power, fun. GT Radial, experience the performance.
This is the road to the championship.
I've won the championship twice now. I think we can do it again.
Let's go, let's do this.
Your winner at round one. Look at Osmo. He's a magician. Here we go. Rain or shine, these guys are down for a good time. You can't count anybody out.
Everybody's really pushing the envelope. One mistake and that's it.
Oh my goodness.
What did I do wrong? I don't get it.
So it's all about attrition here in St. Louis.
Oh!
We're in the playoffs, man. We are fighting for it tooth and nail. And Osmo goes hard. Matt Field, the guy to beat.
We got 20 seconds to shine. We can't make any mistakes. If you do, you're out.
It's going to be coming down to Irwindale, kids.
Is Matt feeling the pressure? Absolutely.
The championship is on the line. Ryan Turk, he says, hold my rock star, homeboy. Let me show you something. Matt Field is out. Huge repercussions here. Your winner, Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo! What an amazing ending to a 2022 season. There it is, documenting controlled chaos as you overlook Rockstar Energy Drinks Pit, which houses, as we just saw, Frederick Osbo, the defending and now 3-time Formula Drift champion, and not once but twice #1 qualifier, Ryan Turk. Both those guys flying the Rockstar flag, and Toyota and Nitto have a lot of commonalities, operated by Papadakis Racing. And that's why, you know, a lot of eyeballs are on Ryan Turk to gain a championship. The likes of him, I think a lot of eyeballs are on Matt Field, how close he came last year, Odie Bakshis, and then you peppered in with a Von Gittin Jr. win. This season has the making of celebrating just that, 20 years of Formula Drift, Ryan.
It actually is one of the most stacked fields, I think, that we've ever seen in our history. You know, we've had a lot of drivers over the years come in from different parts of the world, and they certainly have made an impact, but to have so many championships in the series this year, plus guys that have returned like Forrest Wang, plus guys like Alex Halavnia coming over and representing Ukraine, and just all the other drivers that are making up the makeup of the sport right now. It is super, super exciting to just see what we've seen so far, and we're only 2 rounds in.
Yeah. The person I'm going to call out, Daigo Saito. Daigo, you need to be here, buddy. Daigo, next year. That's the person that's still competing that I think would just complete all of it. But, hey, take it from Turk, our not 1-time but 2-time #1 qualifier, K&N. Again, Rain-X, Toyota, GR Corolla, Nitto Tires. Take it from Turk.
Here at FD Orlando, there is a massive transition from the bank to the flat where you really want to be able to adjust your suspension independently with both compression and rebound. We run the BC Racing ER coilovers, and smooth is fast. So this big G out from the transition, you want to be able to dial it in so it's as smooth as possible so it doesn't unsettle the car so much, and you'll just have a lot more control coming through the infield and the transition. That's it. Take it from Turk.
Don't forget, bet on FD Orlando. Visit formuladee.com, sign up, register, and place your bets on Formula Drift Orlando, the debut of the sportsbook here. There it is. Scan the code, sign up, and place your bets. Find out who's going to win, and you could win if they win. There's some odds, you know, previous to qualifying. Osbo, Field, Turk's a pretty good bet, man.
Yeah.
You know, #1 qualifier. You know, if you put it down before.
Yeah, if you put 100 on each of the top 3 guys, and either of them win, you pretty much will still make money. Let's go.
I'm very interested to see the utilization of that. This speaks to my brother. My brother likes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big sports.
And I want to start seeing prop bets too. Just like fun, like first person to wad a car, first person to do. You know what I mean? Like
what will be super fun, I think, is battle winners.
Yeah.
You know,
oh yeah.
That'll be really fun.
Yep. All right. Well, we are finalizing the, like I said, I believe it's going to be 11 drivers for 8 spots. So you're going to have some broken hearts or some broken cars on the side. We'll see who makes it into the main event for tomorrow. And here are the Q2 qualifying start list. Joao Barrion, Alex Halovnia, Kyle Mohan, Nick Novak, Ula Yeager, Diego Higa, Kenshiro Gushi, Dean Carnage Carney, and there you go, Christos Blush rounding out. So 11 drivers vying for 8 spots. Now keep in mind, we will, if you have a score, we'll take the top of the 2. If you don't have an incomplete, obviously you're going to better it. So, and now you can't place any higher than 25th. So out of these 11 drivers, the highest you will finish is 25th to 32nd. You just want one of those 8 spots. All right, here's Joao Barrion, Barbaros Monster Energy Corvette. Saw him earlier, had some issues with the car. As Ryan was saying, I think it describes it. The car's not doing exactly what he's trying to make it do. It's fighting him back. So warming up the tires in that Pedal Commander burnout box. Remember, tomorrow is game day. Formula Drift, round 3. We start streaming tomorrow at 2:30. 2:30 is top 32. We have a halftime break, and then we go live same time as we did today, but that'll be top 16 opening ceremonies, our United States Air Force opening ceremonies. We'll find out who wins here at round 2. Formula Drift Championship. Super pumped. Joao Barrion, one of 11 drivers vying for 8 spots. The Brazilian flags wave there just beyond that start line. Joao needs to get it done. He has an incomplete. No, he does have a score. He does have a score. I apologize. I digress. It was only Gushi and Mohan that have incompletes and 0. So here we go. Joao Barrion. Roll through that start chicane. Initiates, goes into it. So again, does have a score, but you want to better it just that way you're really locked in. Looks a little more refined than his first run. Taps the brakes on the transition. Again, the judges wanting a little more smoother. And does exceed that line. Big angle there from Joao. So just a little choppy.
Yeah, the first thing that I noticed was on the initiation, there was a slight bit of tentativeness. Not taking that approach where if you go from, say, the bottom to the top, like some of the drivers, shooting up towards the wall, you're really aggressively getting into that initiation, getting to lock, and then being right on the wall. It seemed as if he was just a little bit tentative. Let's take a look at it. You can see kind of, he gets hung up a little bit. It's not a double initiation or anything like that. But as you are in this second round, the importance of making it into the top 32 really has to do with how well you perform in this second run and trying to maximize as many points as you can. He does go a little bit deep, too deep into outside zone number 2, but he is able to finish off the run. Let's get another look at it here. You can see there again on the initiation, just not as aggressive as you would like to see or as committed, but once he's there, he's pretty deep into outside zone 1. Just clips that inside clip. He's on the 3rd hash mark on outside zone 2, or inside clip number 2. Goes a little bit deep at the just before outside zone 2 and also about midway through outside zone 2. So we'll see how the judges take a look at that as his night is done no matter what, and whether or not he will make it into the top 32.
All right, Joao Barrion waits for his score. 10 more drivers left, 10 more runs. Will they make it into a coveted 8 spot? Sim Magic, if you have not experienced Sim Magic, get involved. Sim Magic. Orlando, it's time to put your drifting skills to the test. Head on over to the Sim Magic Activation tent and get ready to experience the ultimate drift simulators. Simulators offer a hyper-realistic drifting experience that will leave you feeling like a pro. Be sure to check out Sim Magic here and every round of Formula Drift. All right, seeing what's gonna go down here. All right, hardcore fans still sticking around. Polovnia from Ukraine. Let's see. Polovnia on the start line. Getting ready to send it. right, just a little technical glitch there with the scoring pads. We'll get it going in just a moment. Fans there on the start line, getting that soup. BC Forge, you haven't picked up your tropical trackside, pick it up. Also, I believe in the concession stands, if you stop by the concession, pick up a cold, refreshing BC Racing Hourglass Brewing Trackside Tropical IPA for a chance to win some awesome custom prizes. So be sure to check that out. Purchase a tropical IPA from the OSW concessions during FD weekend. Take a photo of you holding the can in a fun, safe way on Saturday and use the hashtag Trackside Tropical. So a 70 there for Joao Barrion. So it's a 70. I believe his first score was the better of the two. But got some really cool stuff. Again, BC Hourglass Brewing. You can win a custom BC Hourglass Pelican cooler. Also a steering wheel. So some cool stuff there from BC and Hourglass Brewing. Warming the tires back up. We are hearing that Kyle Mohan has retired, that it will be a DNS, did not start, and had an incomplete on his first run. So unfortunately, Mohan will be watching from the sidelines. So now only 9 vehicles left for those 8 spots, but 10 drivers in total. So here we go. 9 runs left. Alex Holovnia. He did have a score on his first run. Can he better it to get into those bottom 8 spots? Holovnia leaves the start line. Launching entry into that bank. Look at that car, very, very settled. Look at that, and then comes in with more and more angle right there towards the course's edge. Precision driving past the inside clip, both 1 and 2. Oh no, that's going to be an incomplete. That's an incomplete. Does have a score on his first run though. Again, the only 2 were Mohan and Gucci that had incompletes.
Well, he will have to rely on that, Jared. Unfortunately, not able to get a scored run here. Let's see if we can find out what happens. The initiation was decent, but slightly labored. You'd like to see it a little bit more aggressive, really get to that lock and stay there. But it's not really going to matter too much because the incomplete comes about from this section of the course right here, where he really angles up. Looks like the back end just starts spinning out. He's not able to maintain that angle, and he receives an incomplete for run number 2.
And we can see Holovnia, the overhead view, pulling back into the pit area and coming now into the track. Nick Novak. So a good run on his first run, but just not enough as we see the top 24. Novak whips it around, car dies on him. That's not a good sign. Jerry Yang Racing helping him out. Helping build that car. It is a new car. It's a brand new build for Novak. Even though he ran a BMW previous years, it is an all new build. Novak pulls up. Now he's going to pull out. Let's go. Nick Novak on the start line. We're ready to go. 8 more drivers, 8 more runs. Only 8 spots. Big Manji entry. Ryan was talking him up on how aggressive he could be. You could see him just kind of wavering there on the bank. POV ducking into the smoke, now transition into that second clip, goes past it, filling all that outside zone. Really aggressive driving. You can see just get nasty with it, but maybe just a little too loose on initiation. All right, so Novak completes his second run. Taking a look at it here again, Ryan.
Well, not wanting to have any ambiguity here, and you can see he's having a little bit of trouble with that front end. Not able to keep the angle that he wants on that first outside zone. Better there on the infield, though you can still see a little bit of wavering. Seems like he's coming unstuck in certain parts of the course. This part right here, very consistent though. Locks in on that angle, locks in that line, and uses great throttle control through the finish line to give himself as much of a chance of making it into the top 32 as possible.
Okay, so we can see Novak completes his second run. And again, with Holovnia having a score on his first run, if he could still potentially make it into those bottom 8 spots. The fans thinning out here, sticking around for the final few runs here. But this place will be packed tomorrow, I can guarantee that. Again, top 32 at 2:30, 16, and opening ceremonies at 7:30.
The past 2 years have actually been pretty nuts. If you think about, we already talked about last year, but the year before that was the JTP oil spill year.
Oh, gosh.
Remember that? And we were so late into the night.
Oh,
it was so crazy. I mean, this round always seems to bring out something quirky. No good? Knock on wood?
Yeah. Don't do us like that. Don't do me like that. All right, awaiting the score for Novak. What do we got here for Nick Novak? And tabulating, throwing them in, inputting, and outputting. 80.33, that's an 80.33. So 80.33 for Nick Novak's second run. And we're seeing our next driver on the start line. And it looks like Ola Jaeger, Japan Auto, Kenda Tires, Toyota Supra. And we are clear to go. And from Norway, got a large contingency of Norwegian drivers sliding on the ice and sliding here in the heat. Scorched. Nice angle there from Ola Jaeger. Big angle. Wow, maxing it out. Coming down, knocking out that trackside tropical clipping point and the second hash mark. Ooh, gets heavy into that bank. Now into that second outside zone. He brought it back in, reeled it back in.
Well, everything was looking pretty solid and like aggressive but refined until we got to the transition to outside zone 2, and he went pretty high up on the big bank. I think it was 2 tires. I don't think it was 3, but let's take a look at it here from above. You can see he gets that initiation, he locks in the angle, he's on a mid-high line on the bank, starts pushing up higher as we get closer to the end. Touches that inside clip. Now watch this, Jared. He's going to go wide on inside clip 2 and 1, 2 rear tires on the big bank, but then he quickly makes that adjustment, gets back on it, and finishes up pretty strong.
All right. Let's see what we got for Ola Jaeger. Just finishing out, like you said, just exceeding, going up into that bank a little bit. Did bring it back in. Minimal wheel adjustment on the front end. Just showing he's confident with that line. Then you see, bang, throw some more at it. That's where he just goes off course just a lot too much. Coming out on track, looks like Diego Higa. Diego Higa in that 86. Yeah, it's going to be packed tomorrow. Forecast, always shows rain, but it could show up violently or just a little, I like to call it aggressive talking. Somebody kind of just spitting at you when they're talking. So, taking a look. Yeah, it looks like actually the forecast is saying no rain tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be the best weather forecast we've had for the past couple of years. So
yeah, but wait 10 minutes.
Well, maybe
ideally, yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we always curse it like that. Here we go, Diego Higa, another Brazilian driver. You see the fan there waving that Brazilian flag, cheering him on. Brazilian drift champ. Let's see what Higa's got. A 71.66. A 71.66 for Ola Jaeger. Here we go, Mr. Higa. And his first score is 72. So Ola Jaeger 72 is the better of the two. And here comes Diego Higa, clear descent. Remember, he had as well. And he got a lot more comfortable. Remember, he initiated first time, was low on the bank. Does exceed that track line. Hanging out a little too long, but now brings it on back. A lot more comfortable than his first run. Right there on the course edge. This is what it needs to do. Does, again, exceed that course line, but a lot more comfortable and confident from the Brazilian driver.
And you can see he was really pushing the pace there. Yep. It was clearly aggressive driving. He's not playing it safe. He knows that there's going to be 3 guys on the outside. With Kyle Mohan going out completely, there's 2 guys going to be going on the outside, and he does not want one of those drivers to be him. No. Right out of the gate, he stays aggressive. He does drop a left rear coming off of the big bank. Nice transition back around, fluid onto that second check mark, and then gets right into that outside zone, plots that left rear tire, and stays pretty close on the line. Maybe exceeded a little bit, but he was pretty much staying in course. And this is the area where he drops the left rear coming off the bank. Hits that inside clip. Like that transition. He's right on the second hash mark. And then surging back around. Let's watch the right rear. It's going to see you're just going to exceed it for, a second or 2 there. But overall, pretty solid and aggressive performance from Diego Higa.
Diego Higa completes the run. And now we'll see if he has more fun out here. Again, has that incomplete. This is going to fare really well. This is going to be good. See Diego Higa, JDM Supreme operating the vehicle. JDM Supreme has quite a few. An 84, 8.4. That's an 84 for Diego Higa. An 84 should be, I think, sufficient.
It's the best run that we've seen in this part of competition, so we definitely now have more markers to go off of.
Right. And here is Kenshiro Gushi. Ken Gushi having an incomplete. Straightening out on that first run. So he knows what he needs to do. And Gushi is clear to send. That Monty's 3's racing Toyota GR86. Running that turbo V6. Very unique sounding engine. Unique engine setup as a whole. As Gushi now initiates. There's big angle. Good job from him. Good front lock on those front wheels. Little hiccup there over when they used to hit that jump, man. That jump was very prominent, but Ken Gushi, look at that counter. Tiptoed through the window and across the finish line.
So pretty solid performance there from Ken Gushi, wanting to make sure that he guarantees himself a spot. Again, as you said, Jared, cannot get any higher than 25th place, yes. Rather. And 83, I believe, is our approximate marker for the #1 spot, which will put you in 25th. Let's take a look at Ken here as he comes off of the big bank. Nice and controlled, just touching that inside clip. Smooth transition, but he goes a bit wide on inside clip 2. Now, he doesn't have the momentum to push him off course, so he's able to stay on course and stay fairly deep into that final outside zone as he finishes up the run.
Ken Gucci, where's he gonna land? Definitely be a bummer if we didn't see him in 32, just a OG around since day one. First ever driver to put a Ford Mustang on the box many moons ago in Sonoma. He's been working with Toyota for numerous years, including the first ever, 86 in Formula Drift competition. Developed that, kept it progressing. Now in this 86. New build for him. New car, and working with Gazoo Racing. Got the 4 Gazoo Racing vehicles between Castro, Gucci, Osbo, and Ryan Turk. An 82.33, an 82.33 for Kenshiro Gucci. So jumping up quite a bit. Here's Dean Carnage Carney. He had a 73 on his first run. So a little spray of the nitrous. Higa with an 84, Gucci with an 82.33. Got a couple 81.33s. Novak, Beecham, Castro got an 80.66. So quite a few scores up there, but just to lock it in, just get an 85, Dean. That'll seal in the flavor. HyperNFT.io, Dodge Viper. Looks a lot more concise this run. Doesn't look as kind of like, all right, I'm gonna throw it all out there. It looks a little more precision here. Still aggressive, definitely an aggressive line. Look at that. I say not aggressive, obviously the driving, but just by comparison, that was a really, really good run there from Dean Carnage Carney.
Yeah, he seemed, very centered and balanced, but as you said, still bringing that aggressiveness that you want to see to try and maximize the most amount of points that you can extract out of these judges for the criteria that they've laid down in qualifying, and Dean seemed to do just that. No major mistakes that I could see. Pretty good initiation, gets right back on throttle. Mid-high line throughout the majority of the bank. Just starts dripping down a little bit there towards the end. Hits that inside clip. Nice job on IC2. And then outside zone 2, very consistent. Just a little bit of movement there from on the last third of that outside zone. But overall, I think this is going to be up there with Gucci and Higa. And this should be enough to get him in the show.
Yeah, I think that was a great run for Dean. I think that would have fared well even on his first run. Just looks more fluid. Again, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Dean. Love the dude and is definitely an aggressive driver, but just needs to be a bit more fluid, and he showed up there. That's what he delivered. Seeing Trenton Beecham in the Pedal Commander burnout box as we await the score for Dean Carnage Carney. Hyper NFT Dodge Viper. 76.33. 76.33 for Dean Carnage Carney. So 73 was his first score. He does better with a 76.33. That's the better of the two. So that is good. But we'll see where it stands when all the scores fall. Trenton Beecham on the start line, birthday boy. Definitely wants to celebrate today and tonight and going into tomorrow. The Nexen Tires, Clone X BMW. He does have a score on the board. All right, here we go. Trenton Beecham coming into that big bank. He had an 81.33 on his first run, angled out. Whoa! We got a one-tire fire here. That thing caught a blaze. Smoke him if you got him. Wow. Trenton Beecham now coming all the way through. Didn't have massive angle on that initiation, but really, it seems like when the tires set fire, he really stepped it up. That was crazy. And sometimes that happens, man. Just sometimes the rubber accumulates, fuel maybe gets on the tire. Little sketch moment there.
Well, I think he should be generally happy with this run overall. As you said, after initiation, you can see that the angle's a little bit lighter than you would like right around this area of the course. Then he starts pouring it on mid-high line on the bank. That's where we get ignition there as he comes down off. Hits that inside clip, then transitions back around to inside clip number 2. Now as we get to outside zone 2, he's going to push right at the edge of the course and then maybe come off about 12 inches or so there towards the end. Let's get a look from the FPV. Gets that initiation at the last standing cone, and you can see right there, that's where the angle was lacking a little bit. So as we look at the comparison from what we've seen so far from Dean Carney, Ken Gucci, Diego Higa, how does this stack up overall? We've got a spread from about 84 to 76 between Higa, Gucci, and Dean Carney. So where does this play in the mix of those three?
Awaiting the score, Beecham. Love to just get it done right now. You hate to see Castro down here, but he knows how to rise to the occasion. Such a bummer. But wow, Trent Beecham with an 85.33, 85.33 for Trent Beecham. So Jonathan Castro does have a score. LTH Mobile 1, he had an 80.66, so he's still in the 80s, but just barely. So he could still see competition, but would, again, like to just really solidify and not flirt with not competing. Jonathan Castro, that LTH Mobile 1, Toyota GR86. And here we go. Leaves that start line and comes down the line. Jonathan Castro initiates, comes out of angle a little bit, but then just gets right back to it. Very smooth transition. That was so fluid past that inside clip, past the second inside clip. Like I said, he knows how to rise to the occasion, puts it right on that line. And bang, there you go. Jonathan Castro. So again, with an 80, Ryan, do you think that betters it? Is that better than 80.66?
Just comparing it to Beecham's, I feel like it's going to be, in that category. I like the way that he started off aggressively pointing towards the wall. That's one of my favorite things that I think I like about this course is that drivers can do that. Now he does pull down a little bit and go from high line to mid-low line towards the end there, but he's got great pace coming through. It's a nice fluid transition to that second inside clip. He matches that by getting into that outside zone pretty much at the right spot. And then even though the angle is not extreme, it's consistent and the line is consistent. He locks in those rear wheels and follows it all the way around. Here's another look at it. You can see right there, super tight on that first inside clip. Second as well. So line-wise, really good job here. And then that right rear is just sitting right at the edge of the deepest part of that zone.
All right, Jonathan Castro still has the 80 on his first run. You can really see those accel, decel kind of moot point, the G's, and the G sensors. Christos Blush, he could definitely tighten it up, but it seemed like he held a little back in the tank. Like he was thrown off on initiation. He's had some great moments here in Orlando, but it's great to see the HGK Eurofighter back. And Castro with an 84.33. Castro with an 84.33 Dominican Republic zone. Does better it, so leveling up. Blush had a 79.33 on his first run. All right, Kristaps. All right, so this is our last driver to throw down their run. Christos Blush, who's going to be in the mix. Christos Blush, HGK Eurofighter, Latvian lover. See if he loves the track. Comes down, blazes past that inside clip. Massive angle from Blush. Past the second inside clip. And just drops right into that second outside zone. Right in the line. Massive smoke trail coming off the GT radials. And there is Christos Blush.
Well, it would be a real shame not to have him in competition, and you can tell he is not taking this obligation lightly. He is going out there and absolutely trying to smash this course as best he possibly can, give the best impression to the judges. Let's get a look at it. Here is our last driver of the night. Gets that nice little initiation. Mid-high line on the bank. Very little wavering, comes flying and actually misses inside clip 1 by a couple of hash marks. Better on inside clip 2. Now transitioning back around, staying pinned all the way through the finish line is Christos Blush.
All right, so Christos Blush. Blush, I think this is going to be enough to get him into the show. Remember, there's 3 drivers that will not be competing. Again, coming into this round of competition, we have 35 drivers and 32 spots. Mohan is definitely not going to make it, as he had a double incomplete. Ola Jaeger had a high of 72. That's not going to get it done, unfortunately, for Ola Jaeger. And then Joao Barrion, unfortunately, with the 73 as his highest score on the first run. So I don't think that's going to be enough. So, and an 81.66 for Christos Blush. So there it is. So Ola Jaeger, unfortunately, Kyle Mohan and Joao Barrion are out. But Christos Blush is in and throwing it down to Ryan Sage, who's with another Ryan and a repeat customer. He got #1 qualifier, the K&N number 1 qualifier in Long Beach, and our K&N #1 qualifier here in Orlando, down to Ryan Sage, who's with our #1 qualifier, Ryan Turk.
In this season for you this year, what is it that you are taking into your approach that's allowing that to happen? How comfortable are you in the car? And give us some predictions for the rest of the weekend.
I think we got a lot of laps of practice today, which was phenomenal. It got us really well-rounded with the setup on the car and just really ready to go. And then, yeah, it was just kind of perfect. I'm always trying to not leave anything on the table, but you always want to go into qualifying and run the best lap you have the entire day. Like that should be your best lap that you've had for the day. And I was able to do that today. And a score stuck. I didn't think it was going to be that high of a score, to be honest. So I'm pumped that it all worked out. And after the performance in Road Atlanta, we really needed as many championship points as we can get. So this is a good step.
Well, it's an honor to see you drive. We love seeing you perform. Everybody, Ryan Turk, your #1 K&M Premium Qualifier. Jared, back to you, guy.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, Ryan Turk. Not once, but twice. His wife Shannon's here in the building. I got to give her a hug. Let's take a look at it again. Here's Ryan Turk with that big 94.66. And some great driving, some great qualifying. But Ryan Turk, look at that precision. You see him just wrap around, very smooth, aggressive. Right here is very impressive, right on the line. Just, it seems like he's got a magnet underneath the car and just puts it right there in the crease. Congratulations to Ryan Turk. Well, that's a wrap on qualifying and our K&N knockout qualifying. K&N, the official performance air filter of Formula Drift, and there is how it ends. Our top 5. Turk, Denofa, Taguchi, Ryan Literal. Look at that, man. Excited for him and Frederick Osbo. Gets that final top 5 spot. And there you go, Travis Reeder, who we saw do well here last year and obviously at E-Town. Odie Bakshis, Dylan Hughes, Alec Robbins, and James Dean. James Dean, look at that, with his top spot. Robbins Stuckey, Hurst, Power, Wang, and Forsberg. All right, and then, so there are our top 15 qualifying positions. On behalf of Ryan Sage and our whole team, thank you so much. Again, tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time for the round of 32, and then 7:30 local time, Eastern Standard Time, for our Air Force opening ceremonies and top 16. Thank you so much on behalf of the judges, the crew. Congratulations to the drivers and these two honeymooners down here. Thank you for joining us here on your honeymoon at Formula Drift. Thank you so much. The party continues tomorrow. Send it. We'll see you online and we'll see you another time. This is Type S Scorched, presented by AutoZone.